Yeah, I was on speech delay when I was young. I did not hear
Oh.
until probably 3 or 4 years old.
Whoa.
We did not know that,
Yeah.
and you would never know it
Never
You
know.
never
until
know
right
it.
No.
now.
Until now.
But I'm with
Oh.
Connor. If you have aviators and someone goes, "I like your aviators," you don't really even need to respond because I think aviator guy just knows that you like his aviators.
I got pilots in my family. My sister's a
Yeah.
flight instructor at Ohio State University, and then her
Oh.
boyfriend is a
The-
captain for Endeavor.
No
Whoa,
kidding.
hello.
So
Yep.
you a big planes guy?
Not really.
Oh.
Oh,
I'm not-
because you had a chance.
I know.
I
Save
would
it
not.
for another day.
I would not trust my sister flying me in a plane.
Okay.
Would
Wow.
never trust her.
Wow.
Why? Is it because of her or just because you're
I've
just-
seen her drive. Sorry,
Well,
Camille.
okay, so if you're what if pilots are bad drivers on the ground? We don't really care, right? As long as
Right.
in the air you're a good
Yeah,
driver.
I would.
No, I mean
Mhm.
that's definitely a red flag. Like if I see a guy, driving, and he's like blowing through red lights with a pilot uniform on, I'm like, I don't want to go on that plane.
But he really doesn't have much.
No, that's
many red lights
his
upstairs.
That's his channel to kind of like let loose because once you get up in the air, it feels like you're just going one speed.
Maybe
man.
maybe that's happening, but I just don't want to see it.
Okay.
I don't want to see it. If you ever, the captain walks onto the plane
yeah.
and he gets up and he's kind of put together, right? Like he's got the
Yeah.
hair all in the right place.
He looks like
and
it's game time.
he's got his shirt tucked
Yeah.
in. If you see a captain who
It's like
he's got a mustard stain on the
Yeah.
tie or something like that, you're like,
He's a little unkempt and he's like dealing with a cold and stuff. You're like,
That's-
oh man, this guy's.
that's a big deal.
We might need a sub
That's
What
a huge deal.
What about the pilot that walks onto your plane that you were just sitting next to in the
at the bar.
airport bar?
At the bar.
He bought you a shot.
Hey,
You
wouldn't
just,
you
you just assumed he was off his shift. Nope, he's just starting.
That was water.
Yeah.
That was water.
All right, what is less believable here? That Al Michaels last night, it was revealed that he has never eaten a vegetable in 78 years of his life,
Uh-huh.
or that Jim Harbaugh has more rushing yards in the NFL than Bo Jackson.
Well,
did.
the latter is true. I actually had to look it up to just confirm it just now.
Now they played a significantly
Harbaugh was
different
shifty.
length of career,
Correct.
but Harbaugh also has more rushing touchdowns than Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
Hey, he was a dual threat guy.
I guess that. Do we believe Al Michaels when he says he's
No.
never had a
No,
vegetable?
I think once
you live?
something snuck into one of his meals once,
Oh.
whether he knew it or not.
Okay, so one of my brother's best friends, this is absolutely true, and it is brought up by his wife, who I think she made the mistake. She's married to a 12-year-old. He has never had a vegetable. He has never had a condiment. He has never had a piece
Condiment?
of fish or a slice of fruit.
Okay, that's a
And
lot.
how old is he?
So
He's mid-40s.
he's basically
Oh.
restricted to just pure meat.
He's never had a piece of fruit.
No. So he basically is 12 years old.
And
Oh
And
my
she knew that.
gosh.
She knew that they're a great couple. But she knew that when they started dating because this is like his badge. He
Would-
tells people this.
would you be able to tell by looking
Is he?
at
Is
him?
he in good shape?
He's in great shape.
Okay.
I mean, he's in fantastic shape.
I mean, so Al's point is right then. Really, what he was trying to say was the human body is an amazing thing. You would be surprised at the
Yeah.
things that you could do and
Yeah.
still live for 78 years.
Now, I think I was
Think about Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus was 80 years old. Did that guy look like a guy who was going to live till 80 years old? No.
No.
The way he
Yeah.
played football?
Yeah.
I mean,
and
like-
actually, I don't know the last time I heard him speak, but he was
doing okay.
He was pretty sharp. He still had his faculties for a
Okay.
guy that led with his head a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, do you think that you have eaten more vegetables post moving out of your parents' house or pre when you were growing up to 18 years old?
Post.
Pretty.
I actually like vegetables.
See,
now.
I hated vegetables when I was growing up. Now I think I've eaten more vegetables post living at home.
I gotta have a vegetable
Took
now.
me a while to start eating vegetables.
I just feel
Al
bad.
Michaels, 78 years.
I can tell you though, I came around on Brussels sprouts.
Oh, yeah.
Hated Brussels sprouts growing up, and then
Welcome
the resistance.
but then you get the Blackstone, and you get a little seasoning on that. Oh, they're
You
good.
charm up nice.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty good.
That's a great vegetable. I
It
almost
is.
have to I feel bad if I don't eat a vegetable anymore just with a plate of food.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you eating? A chicken strip and tater tots?
we'll do like
No,
little
I-
egg bakes where you put like sausage and eggs and hash browns, and then you put them in the oven. Like I've had that without like green peppers. And it's
Throw
weird.
a pepper in there.
Yeah,
it's better.
I need green peppers or onions in there.
So there's no
it's
way
better.
though that Al Michaels could go that long.
I don't think so.
I mean,
He's probably done a lot of those,
Like Nick
rubber
said.
chicken and pea circuit
Yes.
speaking engagements.
Yeah, don't tell me
They
he's
have to
just.
slip a vegetable on there,
Yeah.
and he like
He's had a
"Yeah,
salad.
You know what?
they snuck one in.
You
there.
tell me he's never had a salad.
I mean, like asparagus. Let's go. I'll have one slice of asparagus.
And now, unfortunately, it's a thing for him because
Yeah.
he'll go to a restaurant and people are like, "This guy's never had a vegetable in his life," and then all the chefs are going to be like, "All right, well, we gotta either A, sneak one in, or B, I would take it as a chef as a challenge.
I would too.
To say, you know what, I'm going to make a vegetable.
I
that
got this
he would really
amazing
enjoy."
steak salad. That's
Exactly.
got an array of greens in there. You're gonna like it.
It's shocking. It's shocking. It's maybe shocking that he believes it, but it's certainly shocking if it's true.
He's really selling a lie there to an Amazon audience that was captivated by
I don't know, man. I kind of believe
DJ
him.
Moore.
I kind of believe.
you?
I kind of believe
Just
him.
because it's Al.
Yeah, just
Okay.
it's Al.
Al seems like a trustworthy individual.
We should talk to Chris Collinsworth and see if he thinks this is correct.
Yeah, you guys
Oh,
are.
Al.
But this is like something though that
Yeah,
you
he
do
hates broccoli.
like you probably do brag about. I made it this far without eating a vegetable.
I
Now someone will
suppose.
try and trick him.
Just want to set the record straight that he's not vegetarian.
Well, I mean,
You definitely couldn't be confused for that.
Yeah.
you cannot.
Now, if he,
even as a kid, I
think if
I
you,
guarantee you had one when he was a kid. We're all forced to.
you're right, Gary. Like if you've never done something for that long, so you made it 78 years without doing one particular thing that everybody does every day. That is a badge. That is, even though it's sort of disgusting, it is certainly a badge. I would be parading that all around the city.
I mean, this is incredible what Herb Street does on
very rare.
Thursdays and Saturdays of taking care of the elderly.
Oh, jeez.
Little Herbie, you okay over there, buddy?
Hey, every time I watch Game Day on Saturdays, he is Lee Corso's best friend.
I know.
He
Yeah.
helps out Lee Corso so much.
Hey, he's his caretaker.
He does.
Yeah, he's his on-set caretaker. And why?
We saw.
I don't want to get in, but the fact that ESPN even puts him and Lee in that position to begin with
Well,
in the last 2 years is just.
I haven't watched College Game Day in the last couple of years. I haven't really seen what.
Neither have a lot of people.
When they came here for the Ohio State game in 2019, that was the one thing. It just being a rep, because I went down and I talked to him a few times. Like that was very evident, very clear. They were best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if they weren't best friends, it was like he was the caretaker.
Yeah.
Herbie was the caretaker.
Hey, is this something, or did I miss the memo that if you've watched a lot of ESPN, like this commercial is running a lot promoting Game Day? The guy that had the first sign when they were outside of Memorial Stadium before the Colorado game in '94.
Yeah,
that promo is running.
College Game Day came to Lincoln, and
I noticed it last week, and then one of the news stations did a story on it.
No, it was rolling. It was rolling,
and it's been a lot this week too.
Yeah, on all the ESPN.
Wasn't it one of the kickoff classics? It was a sign before, like I thought one of the kickoff classics.
He said it. He said what game it was.
It was the '94 Colorado game.
Oh, it was.
Fowler
okay.
was doing Game Day.
Okay.
As a CU grad.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah, because then they take a picture with him up on the stage.
I'm more curious about his man cave because I was seeing some stuff behind him that I was curious on where he got that.
I was going to pause, freeze frame.
Well, the sign is not what the signs are today. The sign was just a simple hello to a person, not a so-and-so eats this for breakfast or you eat pieces of what for breakfast? You know, things like that, where the signs have evolved. This was just a harmless, so-and-so is watching. They want a shout out. So I'm going to say hi to them.
I wonder when the first time somebody brought in a sign that said Iowa has bad corn. When do you think that happened? Because that's been a now long-standing tradition.
Yeah.
Probably about the time Nebraska joined the Big Ten.
Yeah, does that precede Nebraska in the Big Ten? It's had to have. I'm sure Minnesota.
We have a deep-seated hatred of the state.
Sure, there's a Gopher fan or a Badger fan somewhere amongst the crowd that throws that out there.
Warner Park Bryan brings up a good point. Al might be on the clock. Is potato a vegetable?
It's a starch.
See, I mean, it is a starch, but it grows from the ground. Come on.
Would you call it a starchy vegetable? Because if this is the case, then Al is.
See, I consider it a starchy vegetable.
It's usually not prepared as a vegetable.
Yeah, it's not considered amongst your vegetable options.
You would have to have a vegetable with the potato.
Yeah.
They don't just. You've never gone to a place where they just bring the potato right. It's not cooked. It's nothing. They just drop a potato on your.
I have never done that.
Have you ever been around anybody that eats a raw potato?
I have seen that happen before. There was drinking involved.
No, I never have.
Oh, what a bad combo.
I just,
Yeah, drink it and have a
guy
potato.
found a potato. You just don't see potatoes much on college campuses.
And he just rifled one down.
Just ripping it like an apple.
No, you don't.
Did he realize it was a potato?
Unless
Did
you're
he think
walking
it was
through
an apple?
somebody's backyard
He
on
might have
9th
thought it was an
Street.
apple. Yeah, he might have thought it was an apple.
Well, let's go. Oh my God, we found ourselves in a garden here on this this little duplex on 9th Street.
Exactly. You just don't see it much.
I see. I'm in the camp. You can't put it as a vegetable group just because it's never a vegetable option. It's like its own thing. So, yeah,
I don't think so.
I'll let him. If Al Michaels has been dabbling in potatoes, I'll let him off the hook and say that's still vegetable free.
Yeah, he's fine. That's fine. I think it's got to be green.
Yeah, or at least have a buddy that's green. Because I think of like a red bell pepper.
A red bell pepper.
Hey, can we play a game here? Because I know you
got a buddy that's green pepper.
So your tweet this morning.
What did I say?
Is of the Husker football show.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
When Greg Sharp and Scott Frost are together.
Mm-hmm.
Can we play guess what game this is from?
You see that one, Nick?
I remember that screenshot.
Well, I can tell you when I saved it. Oh, I know what game it was from. I know. Go ahead. Take your guesses.
Was that post
the last time that Scott Frost coached in Illinois?
That is correct.
Oh wow! Okay,
it's exactly.
It was
correct.
after the season opener.
The 2021 season opener.
Wow.
Yeah. and I was gonna say, like, think about the worst. I don't know about the worst losses, but there's like a subcategory of the most painful or games that just made absolutely no sense whatsoever. That one would be high on the list, I think. And it doubled. It was like double points because it was the first game of the season, and
right.
And they were pretty good that year.
Yeah,
and
that was
that
a
game
stretch.
sucked.
There was a stretch where it was like pulling teeth to get any conversation.
That was to this day the worst post-game show I have ever been a part of. We always talk about our horrible Big Red overreaction experiences. That was the worst day.
Is that like
the
right
worst
there
one.
just the face of defeat? I mean,
yeah.
How do you describe it? It's just the face of defeat.
Yeah, his eyes are all puffed up.
Looks very nervous.
Yeah.
Again,
chewing the nail.
He like it looks like somebody's actually behind him invisibly, like opening his eyes for him. You have to watch this. This is part of your contract. This is part of the television show. And he's just so angry.
He saw some type of paranormal activity.
If Greg said anything to him, he would start punching him.
So there was a time when Nebraska joined the Big Ten and they would just roll through Illinois. Like they won 6 of their first 7.
There was a time.
And now we have this. But of late, there is something weird happens every single game. Whether it be last year, Casey goes down. The year before they completely changed what they were doing. So we had to throw out most of our playbook. And then you had the Cam Taylor Britt very awkward kickoff return.
That was the same game, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was all wrapped up into that.
2020 was a disaster, the fake punt.
Which is the one post-game show on the radio that I had to pull over. So that was during the COVID year.
Yep.
And they are talking to Frost after on the post-game about the fake punt. And he reveals that he goes and just nonchalantly to Greg goes, yeah, we only had 10 on the field. We had some confusion. We couldn't find enough players to go out there. And we only had 10. And there's a huge pause of like, Greg Sharp is like, WTF.
Yeah, because the next thing he wants to say is, what the hell?
Why did you let that happen?
I mean, I almost had to pull over to just comprehend that he just said, yeah, we only had 10 on the field because we just couldn't find anybody.
That was a bad day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it back-to-back weeks in 2020, the Minnesota and the Illinois game, or was there some separation in there? Because those were both equally horrible experiences for a little bit of different reasons, but at the end of the day, the same.
Yeah.
Right. Minnesota brought like 4 players and they still won.
Oh,
Nebraska decided to throw it all around the yard, and it was like 40-mile-an-hour wind, and it was 30 degrees.
To me, that was the worst one for the simple fact of how he tried to explain it afterwards. How he kept saying, we are so close, we're coming, we're right there. He kept saying it's ready to pop. I remember texting Jeremiah Searles. I said, I know you're listening to this right now. This has got to be very frustrating.
And then the Illinois game was, I mean, the punt thing happened. They were, I believe Nebraska was 16.5-point favorites that day, and they lost by more than 20, right? Somewhere around.
Yeah, you're right.
So they got reverse covered at home.
God,
See, this is just there are weird stuff that happen in these games.
Yep.
The Mike Riley first trip in there.
What will the first play be tonight?
Yeah, that was good. I mean, that was a good night. It was Ben Stilley's coming out party, the Friday night in 27. Oh no. Mike Riley's first trip there was the
that was
the
clock
weather was
management.
awful.
The clock
Mike Riley's
management.
last trip there.
Third down.
Yeah.
The third down play with the Zigbo.
Yeah.
And then
One of the worst things.
Illinois
I've
gets the
ever
ball back.
Yep.
And you have literally 45 pass interference calls in the end zone from the 1 yard line.
So I don't remember.
2019 was the
16.
Yes.
2019 was the
2019 was the Wandale Adrian game.
Wandale was getting wrecked everywhere.
Yep.
It was the week before the Ohio State game, and they somehow snuck out of there.
And if they would have lost that game, then game day would never.
Now
have
18,
been
they
here.
played that. Adrian Martinez and Ozigbo had a great game that day, and they rolled Illinois.
19.
No, 18 at home. Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
18.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
19 was Martinez and Wandale.
Yes.
Wandale just got the absolute crap kicked out of him and kept getting back up.
Okay, so I don't.
But it was still
remember-
that was the 42-38 game.
Yes, that was
Yeah,
that was 19.
yeah.
But that was like a pretty good. Like that's how they wanted to do it. That's how they wanted to win.
Okay,
football
so here's
games.
another memory. Remember 17? So my memory wasn't Stanley Morgan scoring. Back to our discussion about ball boys. There was a Nebraska ball boy that was in a foot race with Stanley Morgan as he was running into the end zone.
I don't remember that.
I don't
no.
remember that either.
I remember that game being the Ben Stilley breakout game.
Yeah.
See,
On a Friday night in 17.
The 17 game I don't remember as much now.
28-6.
The 18. Wait,
18
yes, the
18 Frost first year.
That game I remember because they were wearing the throwbacks and the Zigbo just ran wild in that game.
Oh yeah, the leather helmets.
Yes, they had the leather, the leather helmets. But then, from that point then to 19,
It was like 56.
and then every Illinois game after that, very memorable.
So the only one we can't really account for was 16, the year they started 7-0, and I
don't remember.
Don't remember it.
Yeah,
but I
because
don't.
that would have been a home game.
I don't remember much about them starting.
That's the one I don't. Okay, the
7-0.
16 one. That's the one I don't remember.
Yeah,
That would have been a home game.
I cannot account for that game.
Yeah.
15, we certainly can. Can we go back to 14? I'm sure Amir Abdullah did something.
Yeah, he did something. That was another throwback uniform game.
Was it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they did. That was that the red ones?
Yeah,
that were really hard to. You couldn't even see the numbers.
Yeah, they were like silver numbers.
Yeah, they're like it was the duct
Oh,
tape.
night game.
It was a
8
night
o'clock
game. Yep, it was duct tape for like numbers. They were awful. Those were the worst uniforms that I've ever seen them wear. Those were terrible.
Not even the Wisconsin ones with the huge. N
Oh
on
yeah,
them?
you know what? Sorry, you're right. The alphabet soup one. Yeah, those were awful.
Our only win against Wisconsin.
That was against a Joel Stave-led Wisconsin Badger team.
So 45-14 in 2014. 31-16 in 2016. Just a pretty nonchalant.
okay.
Hey, Bo took care of Illinois.
Yeah, there was never any.
He liked to recruit Illinois, and he thought he had to beat Illinois to get kids out of there.
Bo never lost to Illinois.
Yep.
Nope.
There was never any bad moments.
But
with
he
Illinois.
only played him in 13 and 14. They didn't play in 11 and 12.
Which is odd because you would think that they would play every year. But as we've come to know,
Legends and leaders.
Legends and leaders messed that up.
Nebraska and Indiana, they don't ever play.
Nebraska was a legend. Illinois was a leader.
That's right. Nebraska was a legend
Mm-hmm.
because Nebraska was the newest team in the conference, and they
Yeah,
were in the Legends
legendary.
conference.
Illinois is more of a leader of men.
So what will be weird about tonight?
Watch, it'll be because it's the first rule game. It'll be normal. It'll look like a normal football
That would be
game.
great. I would love that.
I think we'd all embrace that. What's the first play going to be? Not going to
Touchdown?
not going to throw behind the line of scrimmage, are we?
Oh no!
That was the only word I can describe McCaffrey, and it was a spaz.
Okay.
That was McCaffrey's ultimate spaz game.
Was that the worst single play in the Scott Frost era?
Now, boy, no. I don't think you can
We can
single
get
it.
to a top 5.
Yeah, we get to a top
It'd be a
five.
top
I don't
five.
think you could.
It'd be
They
a top
all
five.
have meaning,
Yeah.
and they're all like WTF moments that are on equal ground.
Yeah, there were some red
That
zone
is in the
plays against
top
Purdue.
five.
There
That
were
was-
some red zone plays against Purdue when they were in West Lafayette that one year, and that probably would rank up there too.
Okay. I mean,
Um,
the Illinois one was for whatever reason just incredibly memorable to me.
Well, it had an auspicious beginning.
The Cantillar Britt safety, whatever the hell that was
Yeah.
thing 2 years ago was pretty.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Brett Bielema's first point scored in his career at Illinois was a safety.
Yeah. And Nebraska was up 9-2, right? And
Yeah.
and I was like, well, they lost. Good night.
And then right before halftime, Adrian, bad play, and Illinois gets the ball.
Adrian.
Oh yeah, the
bad
strip
play.
sack and then the strip sack and score.
We have, of course,
And
the
game on.
The onside kick is pretty.
Is the onside kick number one because the impact that it had on his future?
Yeah, I think that it was very symbolic. Yeah, there was a lot of meaning behind just that moment. So I could say that would be number one in the power rankings.
A good one from Sean, the Michigan State punt.
Yeah. Well,
hey, let's punt it directly at the best punt returner in the country
true.
and have our defense run the other way.
So I'm going to play the other side of the coin here.
At least they were trying to.
Yeah, we had our defense going the other way. Punter punted it the wrong way.
Are the two most memorable WTF plays in the history of the Scott Frost era both
against Illinois?
No, Michigan State and Northwestern.
Okay,
where the specialist went rogue.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't just a bad.
I don't know if it's the most, but they were so bad.
Yeah, where when you
how about the Caleb Lightbourne missed onside kick?
Oh yeah, where he just goes. Oh,
yeah. Now that wasn't rogue.
Was that supposed to be a kickoff or an onside kick?
That was supposed to be an
onside kick.
Onside kick.
He just missed it.
But the
in a game which they were
right there.
They were right against the
right there.
Well, and yeah, that's right. And same thing with the Michigan State game. All you do, even punt to more of the middle to the field or where the angle you're trying to punt to, and they win that game easily. Michigan State could not do a damn
There has
thing.
to be audio of the conversation on the headsets about when the punt is in the air.
Yeah.
And all the gunners are going to the other side of the field.
Right.
And the punt goes to the other side where there's nobody.
I've never seen an
Yeah.
easier punt return.
And I want to see. I want to know what was going in the head of the returner. Like, really?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
I could walk if you wanted me to.
I think we brought this up before. If we could find the audio on the comms when the Frost, we'll just call it the Frost onsider, took place in Dublin. Like what the comms were, what was the chatter going on with the coaches?
Probably
comms?
just silence, I would say.
You're probably right. It's probably at that point, like, wait, what?
Okay, so because we don't want to pile on Frost.
We
5 games in, the most significant play of the Matt Rule era.
It's got to be one of the Jeff Sims fumbles.
Or the trick play. What is going on? Oh, that's a great call.
Osborne
in Minnesota.
Yeah, but
Osborne?
mean, they lost.
Okay, so is there a bad play call already in 5
play
years?
call, okay.
Or 5 games, excuse me. Because they did not signal in the play. This is Jeff. This is where you mishandle the ball.
Well, I mean, you could go back to the 3 and out against Minnesota.
Or
they could have just ran it all the way out.
This is
let's take a shot to Tommy Hill and then pass it 2 more times.
Well, I was just going to say Tommy Hill on the field,
Colorado
man coverage, 3rd and 10, 13-7, a chance to get off the field.
Yeah.
And
you could
I mean,
convince
the
me of
fact
that
that he's on the field in that moment, or at least in that coverage, but I know they love themselves some Tommy Hill.
I do love Tommy Hill. He's probably fine on the field, but he's got to do.
And again, I'm not saying Nebraska wins the game. I would have loved to see them get the ball back, down 13-7 after just ripping off a 50, big play, 50+ yard touchdown run, and see what happened. Just wanted to see what happens.
How about Thomas Fidoni's shish touchdown?
Bad play call.
Oh, just most significant play of Matt Rule.
Did you know that Rule did not know until it was brought up to him on Monday that that's what he did?
No, makes sense, I guess, but
I don't think he knew why he did that. Because Rule on a side session was asked that.
I don't think anybody really knows why he did that.
I don't know. I thought it was a good play. Like, okay.
What do you mean? He shushed the crowd afterwards.
Yeah.
You're playing at home.
There's a touchdown, folks. What do you want?
Yeah, so there's not a deep catalog yet, but don't worry.
We could do this with a lot of different coaches.
Individual plays.
The individual plays
that defined an era.
Yes.
See, that defined an era. I don't think now. I'm convinced it's the Frost onside kick against Northwestern.
Okay, yeah,
that defines an era. Right there.
I think that's the right way to talk about
it. Special teams
defined an era.
But that one is the
so one of those
yeah.
would be it's not a particular play, but while Melvin Gordon is running wild, Bo and Papuchis are arguing on the sidelines on what defense they should run.
It's a pretty good one.
Papuchis wanted to get out of the defense, and Bo was like, "No."
Yeah,
I mean, you go back to Sue sacking Colt McCoy too early.
Yeah.
One, Mac Brown just standing there with 1
Yeah,
second.
one.
One
second.
That's probably a play that defined that
Yep.
regime.
Yes.
Or many shots of Bo just standing there.
Yeah,
on
Bo
the
just
sideline.
getting flagged a few times.
Bo swinging his hat.
Yeah, swiping his hat. Then there was throat slash gate with Callahan.
That's probably the
When
Callahan one.
When he did the throat slash in the Oklahoma game.
That picture or play something, a moment that defined an era.
You know what? When we were talking about the South Stadium, I forgot. I was at that game in the South. That was the only time I've ever been in the South Stadium.
Oh, you're a Southie.
I was a Southie that day for OU Nebraska at 11 a.m. Went to Sidetracks that morning. Had a good time.
Pour one out for the Southies and the Regent yesterday that asked Trev, why now?
Because the team is bad?
It's like, why are we doing this now?
I appreciate the Regents because they really ask the questions that the sports radio callers ask a lot. Like, why would we build a stadium when the team can't play?
Yes. It was like listening to questions that Trev got. It was like a sports talk show.
Yeah, because they're all old and they watch football. They're like, what's going on here?
When the one Regent, I believe it was White's, asked about, well, why now?
Mm-hmm.
And they showed Trev. I think Trev had to bite his lip. He responded, because this isn't for now, it's for 25, 50 years. But he wanted to say, so when should we do this?
Mr. Regent.
Then I also noticed that everybody was preferencing by saying, this is where I sit in the stadium. And I've been going to games since I was 6.
That's it. That's radio caller. How many times do they call into the show with their credentials? They're like, I've been going to every game since 1986.
So what I'm about to say, you better take serious.
It means something.
Yeah.
It means something. So yeah, that's all. And I appreciate that. The Regents should reflect the state. And they do.
Do they?
Yes, I guess.
Do we all feel that way?
Nah, not going to be a poll question, but
it'd be a good gig to have.
Yeah,
it would be.
It's a gig to get to higher office.
You meet everyone.
One goes to the governor. Maybe one gets in the mix as the president. I don't know.
I'd love to be in a job.
Maybe one will be a mayor or was a mayor.
I'd love to be in a job where, like, every once in a while, I just get to sit there and people present me stuff. like
a plan.
And what do you think? And basically, you can be like Chuck Norris on Dodgeball, yes or no. That's what the Regents do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For more or less.
Ted Carter approaches you and he says, you know what? We might have to eliminate some programs to save money. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
And the student region still has no voting power, correct?
I don't believe so.
They just get to sit
symbolic.
They get to sit at the table, but
they're there. They're present.
They get to no vote.
More symbolic, I think. Yeah.
Their voice can be heard, but
all right. So
at the end of the day, it's not really.
One or twice a year we pay attention to the regions when it involves athletics.
Zach has a most significant play of the rule era so far. The non-false start call in the Minnesota game.
On the left tackle?
Yeah.
Oh, on Minnesota? Yeah.
I think that's what he's saying. I think that's what he's trying
to say. Remember when that used
How about
to be
the
a
non-Isaac Gifford interception?
Right before the touchdown.
Play before
how about Borkature going to the front of the end zone and being wide open?
Hey, I'm right
instead,
here.
Isaiah Garcia Castaneda's throwing the back of the end zone.
That's a good one. I like when Gus Johnson called him Bo Ricker.
Yep. The Bo Ricker was a good
game.
one.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, then he continued Bo Ricker to Colorado as well.
So. Hutchmaker.
Yep, Hutchmaker.
And it's great. We won't have to deal with Gus anymore the rest of the season.
Then there was Bear.
No, and he's not working the Colorado game. So, I mean, he's
is
pretty
he
one-sided for Colorado lately.
Does he still sneak in some NFL later in the year, or is
like
he
one game?
Yeah,
like him and Brando will do like one game,
and then all of a sudden, boom, he'll be on college basketball with Bill Raftery.
Yep.
Although there's less of that now too.
Gus has had a rough season.
Yeah.
Gus
has done too many Nebraska games.
Well, he's become the voice of Colorado.
Yeah.
Like somebody did a side by side of the USC touchdowns compared to Colorado. Yeah.
Not too good.
Gus Johnson benched Jeff Sims.
Oh, he did.
That's right. Yeah, he really
right,
did. He did.
What is he doing?
Yeah. I mean, how you not benching him, Joel?
Why is he in the game? It seems like this season has become long.
It does. It feels like it was a year ago already. What are we doing?
It's been exhausting.
This wasn't even a month ago.
I know.
No. Remember the enthusiasm going into that game? Man.
It feels like it was a long time ago.
Joel, why is he in? Make a case.
I don't want to see his ass.
I don't know what he's doing.
Why is he out there? Show me somebody else.
And then he shows up to be in the third quarter and runs for a touchdown, and they're like,
whoa!
Okay.
He's back. And that's all he needed right there, folks.
That wasn't even a month ago.
No, it wasn't. But it feels like it was a long, long time ago at this point.
All right, next week will be fun with no football.
Yeah. We could really compile the list.
Yeah, the list of plays that define coaching eras.
We could.
A top
now,
5.
how far are we going to go? We go back to OTO?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot to pick from.
Ooh.
How about Frank? We skipped Frank.
No, we'll go Frank.
Like 41 flash reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Could a negative play define the Osborne era, but it turned out to be a good thing? The 83 Orange Bowl?
Oh, yeah. I think more respect came out of that.
I think a lot of people probably
I think his legacy.
Well,
I don't know what Big Red overreaction was like after that game, but I know his legacy.
I don't know that there's another
real men go for two.
People outside of here that would have another play that they attach to TO except for the 83 Orange Bowl.
And the decision, yeah.
A single play. Tommy's run
against Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about the fumble risk in the same game?
I think that's probably the most famous play of
game,
the Osborne era.
I mean, Joey, you have the shirt.
Yeah, I got the shirt.
I mean, do you have a Frazier Jim Nance call shirt?
Oh no!
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln.
I would say the Schlesinger, the go-ahead touchdown against Miami. That'd definitely be one.
That's in the top 5
because it hit twice.
It's a touchdown.
Now we have fodder for a bye week.
There you go. We got crossovers.
Unless Nebraska's 2-4, but then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, we got a week of that, and then another week of something else
leading up to Northwestern.
Yeah, getting ready for the David Braun Northwestern experience.
Yeah, we get to commemorate the onside kick in a couple weeks.
We need
another Northwestern moment. Not enough people talk about the Kane Coulter 2011 game.
I was at that game.
Not enough people talk about that game. That game totally screwed Nebraska's season, and everyone was like, "What the hell?"
And then they went to Penn State in the midst of the darkest time at Penn State, and they actually won.
Yep. I thought they were really good that season. Mm-hmm. They ended up being really good that season because they had made their way all the way back into like the top 10.
Yeah.
Right. They blew it to Northwestern.
Kane Coulter had a day.
Kane Coulter's like, who is this guy? Yeah. What's going on?
And Northwestern kept running the same play over and over.
Yep.
That game shows up quite a bit on Big Ten Network in the offseason.
Oh, I bet it does.
Well, Patty Fitz likes something. He sticks with
Northwestern channel.
Yeah, on Northwestern Day.
So many fun memories.
All right. Have a great weekend, gentlemen.
Goodbye.
You feel good about tonight?
Enjoy the baseball. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
I think we're all in agreement.
I think it's one of those games where you could very easily pick both teams. And the Nebraska side will pick Nebraska. The Illinois side will pick Illinois.
I've kind of noticed that too.
And that's where we're at. Yep. Gentlemen, enjoy your weekend.
Bye-bye.
That's the Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. We will start things off next.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Would you cheer against your team if it meant the team they were playing could make history?
No.
Hell no.
If I have the chance to witness something amazing happen, then I'd rather that happen, even if it's at the expense of my team.
Even in the championship game?
That is a terrible take.
Yeah.
I like my team and I like rooting for my team, but I'd rather experience the history just to say that I saw that, Like I was there.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Few showers possible this morning, but increasing sunshine throughout the day. Windy and chilly. A high today of 56, but likely still mostly feeling like the 40s. Gusts today out of the northwest possible up to 40 miles an hour. Tonight, staying clear and chilly. Freeze warnings and frost advisories in effect for eastern Nebraska and western Iowa, including a frost advisory for the Omaha Metro. Low tonight of 35 degrees. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house,
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. In the distance, fear awaits. A shriek, laughter, then silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screams. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and House combo $30 or $19 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
O'Reilly.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's watch the game at DJ's. Nick Hanley here for my friends at DJ's Dugout. Football is in full swing. College football, pro football. Watch your favorite team at DJ's. Great food, great drinks, great service. Plus, DJ's casual, comfortable atmosphere and huge TV walls are an Omaha tradition. Let's watch the game at DJ's, Omaha's hometown iconic sports bar for 30 years. Locally and Vietnam veteran-owned with 7 metro area locations. Dig in at the Dugout.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome in. Happy Friday. It is the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Joey Colbert today, filling in for young Josh, who's off to Utah to watch Iowa Western play football.
Yeah, they're playing snow.
They're playing snow. Ayo, listen what I say, yo.
Wondering if there's going to be snow or not in Utah.
I don't know. Who knows? It could be. I have no idea. It feels like it's almost going to snow here.
Yeah, it's cold outside.
We got 47 degrees right now.
Yeah, felt like 39 this morning.
Feels like fall. Feels like Big Ten football. And we have Big Ten football tonight in Champaign, Illinois. The now recovered Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois, after it was on fire earlier this week. Everything going off without a hitch there. That is a good thing. We will, of course, dive into the game as we go on throughout the show today. Nebraska 3.5-point underdogs tonight against the Illini. And I'll tell you why. I mean, you know why, but I'll explain it a little bit further. Need to have a win tonight. You put a lot of chips in on this game. Let's set things up first. Bryan Munson's going to join us here in just a little bit. We'll talk some recruiting and more with him. Brian Christopherson from the road at 11:30, and Steven M. Sipple, who's already boots on the ground in Champaign. He will join us at 12:30. We'll have our keys, our picks. I will bring a top 5 to the table today, not a bottom 5. I can't go negative on game day. Top 5, and we'll jump into some things NFL-wise this weekend as well. We also have playoff baseball starting tomorrow with the division series across the sport. That is the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Give us a call, 402-951-1620. Tell me how you feel about tonight's game. I feel sort of a nervous energy, interestingly enough, amongst the fan base. Hopefully it's not that same way within the walls of the locker room. You can call on the 42 Degrees the Source hotline. You can also text that number as well, 951-1620. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank inbox. CONNOR at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube watchers who were commenting profusely about their picks of games that defined coaching eras, which that's a good little topic to stow away for some point. So we say good morning to everybody out there. Nebraska and Illinois tonight. So we've been saying it all week, and Matt Rule sort of set the tone for this on Saturday night against Michigan, after the game against Michigan, and then of course again on Monday. No way around it. This is a giant football game, a giant game tonight. It's not going to feel like it. It won't look like it on television. You'll have, FS1 there. I think it's Jeff Levering and Mark Helfrich. We might be getting used to them in the back half of the season. But it won't feel like it. It won't look like it. It won't be a full crowd tonight in Champaign. But it's equally big for both teams. They're both 2-3. They're both they're sort of Spider-Man meme, pointing at each other, trying to figure each other out at this point. And I think each team is trying to figure themselves out. So it's a big game. And it's, I think more importantly, the way that Matt Rule sort of set things up this week, the way he squared it away for us, led me to believe that this is kind of where the season starts. It's in a lot of ways a new season for Nebraska. They're still, they could still be in the Big Ten West race with obviously need to win tonight. If they don't win tonight, though, that likely goes out the window unless, the entire division really, really crumbles on itself, which, is certainly possible. But that's what I'm saying. The goals sort of change. The season outlook sort of changes if Nebraska doesn't win this football game tonight. And, you hate to be in that moment so early in the season. We're just in the first weekend of October. But at 2-3 and already dropping a game that sort of we had them earmarked for in the preseason, like it was against, the game against Colorado probably would be that one. It turns into a really important one. Now, this game is certainly different than the way it looked at the beginning of the season as well. Nebraska has not really done anything to change their end of it, but Illinois is a team that people sort of expected to be there at or near the top of the Big Ten West, and so far they are not trending for that this year. So Nebraska needs to, I wouldn't call it take care of business tonight, but they need to play their game. They need to do their thing. And for a big picture from Nebraska's standpoint, this is the main thing. I think tonight, you with 7 games left in the season, you sort of start down the road of beginning to kind of grade, right? You have to start to see progress tonight. Can Nebraska play like it did against Minnesota? And I think I appreciate Matt Rule going back to that Minnesota game as sort of this like kind of barometer game. That was good. We played good football that night. We just turned the football over and we shot ourselves in the foot too many times. We weren't able to get out of there with a win. But I think most of what they saw in that game was something that they like and something that they think is repeatable. I don't know Nebraska wins that game if they don't turn the ball over the way that they did in that game. That's what made it so frustrating, I think, at the time. But now that we've seen a little bit of a sample size about this team, we could say, that might be a pretty good picture of what it could look like. I don't think you want to, and especially against the type of teams that you're going to play against in the Big Ten West. I think you look back and you say, well, Minnesota's beatable. And they certainly are. I think Nebraska would tell you that right now. Can you play like you did in that game and not shoot yourself in the foot? That's where I want the program to be at the end of the month. By the end of the month, or certainly by the end of the season, I want us to be talking about like, all right, we know what this group is. We know what to expect. We know what to do. That's called maximizing what you have. That's called getting the most out of what you have. And the fact of the matter is, for the last, I don't know, however many years, we haven't really been able to get a good read. We just went through a couple of the games in the Frost era, and they go beyond that, obviously, where they were favorites, or they were playing well going into these individual games. We used the Illinois in 2020 as an example of this during the COVID year. And they were 16.5-point favorites in that day, and they just, completely went the other way. They ended up losing that game. They got reverse covered, I believe, that day in 2020. So you want to know what to expect. And that's the thing, I think, with most of the Big Ten West programs that are going to be in contention at the end of the year. You know what you're going to get. You might not be as good as some of the teams that you're playing. I think Nebraska is as good as Illinois, if not better than Illinois. And so and I know they're underdogs on the scoreboard. So if you play well enough, if you play up to your standard, Matt Rule talks about it all the time. If you play up to your standard, then you're going to have a good chance to win it. And you should win it if you don't shoot yourself in the foot. We'll talk about that a little bit more in keys later. But that's where I want to be. That's where I want the program to be at the end of the month. And certainly that's where I want the program to be at the end of the year. Who is this team? What can we depend on them for? Can we trust them? Can we trust Nebraska football or can we take a step to trusting in the process of trusting Nebraska football after tonight's game against Illinois? Maybe if they take care of business and they don't and they play generally like they did against Minnesota without the turnovers, then I think that's a pretty good step in that direction. But you never know what you're going to see, and that's sort of where I want the program to get to. And the game is big for this reason. It's in the context of the season. It's big picture. It's little picture. From the standpoint of, if you lose the game tonight, the outlook on the season changes. Like I said, your path to winning the Big Ten West is super narrow, if not completely closed. Your path to getting to a bowl game is narrowing by the minute, which we're already down the road of that a little bit. The season outlook changes, and more so if you're looking at it from a personnel point of view, it likely has to change if they don't win tonight. And I appreciate, I know they had a conversation sort of similar to this on Unsportsmanlike Conduct yesterday, but Stu Manji did a tweet, thank you, Stu Manji Sports Bureau, about sort of the types of players that they're using and the ages of players that they're using, that Nebraska's using right now, and what Matt Rule has used before in his previous seasons. And so Matt Rule, they have leaned on some older guys. That is absolutely something that you could tell was going to happen before the season started, and when Matt Rule sort of got a good grasp of who this team was and who the personnel was. You knew that it wasn't going to go like it was at some other places. But you look at some of these, and I'll go ahead and retweet it right now. So you could find that at Happer Show. But they're playing freshmen and sophomores galore at his previous stops at Temple and Baylor in year ones, and it outweighs the older guys that they were playing. And so Nebraska this year, Matt Rule's first season at Nebraska, they're leaning on a lot of seniors. They have some other guys that are in the lineup as well, but they're leaning on a lot of seniors, and they're not leaning on a lot of young guys. If Nebraska loses tonight, and those paths continue to become narrower and narrower and narrower about getting to a more narrower about getting to a bowl game and certainly winning the Big Ten West, that will have to shift after tonight. Nebraska will be forced to start thinking about 2024 and thinking about 2025 and beyond if they lose the football game tonight. And I know that seems like a lot of stakes for a game in October against Illinois that, like I said, will not feel like a big game. But I do believe that's the case. You fall to 2-4 and 0-3 in the league, and a lot of your goals for the season and a lot of what you want to get accomplished this year is already out the window. So you have to, you're forced to start thinking about the future at that point. And how do you start thinking about the future? You start really, really playing young guys, and you start really developing young guys. There would have to be a shift if Nebraska loses the football game tonight. And if they win, you could stay on the path that you're currently on. And you could let the older guys sort of ride it out and figure out what you're going to do on offense and figure out what you're going to do at quarterback. You still want to develop while you're doing all this anyway. It's not a black and white thing. But I think if they were to lose tonight, you would see a pretty heavy shift, especially considering when do these shifts happen during the season? When do you sort of get to evaluate everything that you're doing and everything that you have done for the first 4 weeks of the season, 5-6 weeks? The bye week. It's a perfect opportunity for Nebraska to do so too. So for all those reasons and probably a few more, how about just getting off the schneid against Illinois? It's a big deal. It's a big game tonight. Like I said, won't feel like it, but it's a big game tonight. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees The Source hotline. That's where we head to start the show with Tony. Tony, good morning, man. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. So I have a trust question to ask.
A trust question?
Like, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is trust because we're involving money. So I need to trust you here.
Okay.
My opinion is this is an absolute lock for Nebraska in the sense of if they're going to get everything right, it's got to start today. So do the players have such an urgency to do that? And I think some of the upperclassmen know their job's on the line here.
Yeah.
Do we trust Nebraska and bet the hell out of the money line tonight? That's my question. And that's a serious question because I got some money and I'm heading to Iowa right now. So
Tony, okay. So hang on. If we're talking about trust, I currently would not be able to put stake my reputation on the line to say hammer Nebraska money line tonight. Do I think that they're going to win? Am I going to pick them to win? Yes. Am I really confident in it? No, I can't be.
I think that's the hang up, and that's me too. I don't, maybe we're still betting with our hearts here a little bit.
Maybe.
But I don't trust it enough. I was just curious what your opinion is.
Yeah.
I don't trust them enough to think that they can go in, man up, and take Illinois and just really take them and put a good game against them. But yeah.
All right, Tony. Well, good luck.
That's a no then.
Well,
that's
it's not necessarily a no. But I can't be like, yeah, well, you come back to me if you lose money and this is the reason why you're doing it. I would bet. I don't usually bet Nebraska. But I mean, I feel okay about their chances to win the game tonight. Can we trust it with 100% of our hearts? No, I don't.
Okay. Come on, I need the lock of the year. I don't need an okay.
No, it's not the lock of the year. Tony, I can't tell you that it's the lock of the year. I just can't do it.
All right.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Tony.
tonight.
Good luck in Iowa. Good luck with the FanDuel Sportsbook, I'm sure. Of course. I mean, we can't trust them yet. I'll tell you what, we've talked about it a lot all week, and we'll continue to talk to our guests about it over the next couple hours here. I like the response. I like the response this week. Like I like the seemingly sense of urgency and the energy, and I really like that they went balls to the wall and practiced hardcore on Sunday. Like I think that's good. I think that's unheard of. I think it sends a message to where the team is at right now. So I like how it sets up for Tony. I can't guarantee it. I can't guarantee it. But maybe we are a little bit betting with our hearts still. Back to the phones real quick here before we get to Munson. We got Joe on the line. Joe, what's up?
Not much. What's up?
How are you?
I'm all right. You know, I don't. There's a lot of things in life I don't know, but one thing I think I know is that football fans just don't know how to deal with emotions. They throw things at the TV. They throw tantrums. They act like, middle school girls. And if you listen to coaches speak, they'll always tell you, you never get too high. You're never as good as, and you're also never as bad as, what everybody's saying, right? And y'all are putting too much emphasis on this game. I mean, every game is important, but is the season over with if they lose tonight? No, it's not.
It
Are you going to tell Ty Robinson, hey, hang up the cleats, Ty? You didn't beat Illinois. No, these guys are still going to want to play football games. And if you listen to these coaches talk, which it's across the board, Mike Krzyzewski, any coach, you name any coach, and he's like, yeah, you want to win every game, but is the season over with? And that's kind of what you're alluding to. And it's like, come on, man, that's garbage. The season ain't over with if they lose tonight, but it's an important game. Don't get me wrong. Every game is important, but I remember a couple years ago where everybody's like, man, you got to open the season right. You got to open the season right. You got to beat Northwestern. Well, we lost to Northwestern. We kind of got out-coached. Northwestern won that game, but didn't win any other ones.
Yep.
So it's like one game isn't the end-all, be-all. Now, don't get me wrong. I repeat it because it is a very important game. But to sort of say, well, we're not going to win the Big Ten West now, it's like, we really thought we were going to win the Big Ten West before the season started? I think we ought to make a bowl game first. And, have those high expectations, have those lofty goals. You got to have goals, and you should play to win. I mean, nobody goes out there to play to lose, but to sort of put that much emphasis on one game, a game we're not favored to win, a game on the road. I don't think Illinois is as bad as everybody's saying they are. They've got a decent coach. Now, are they that good? Are they that much better than Nebraska? No, I don't think so. I think it's a very winnable game. But what if they do lose? You're going to tell Ty Robinson to hang the cleats up? Hey, back it in, Ty. Season's over with. We're going to focus on the younger guys. Man, that's a way to lose your team.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Joe, and thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Like, I don't think you're just going to be like, yeah, Ty, you're done. See you later. I think it will be a shift over time, and certainly during the bye week. But here's the deal. Like, I'm not saying that because it's something that I just came up with. Matt Rule said it last Saturday. What did he say? You're going to find out a lot about this team on Friday. You're going to find out a lot about me on Friday. They did it. They pushed in all their chips for this game. We didn't do it. Now it's big from a from a larger picture season perspective because the season is a math equation. If Joe talks about not making a bowl game, let's stick to making a bowl game first. Well, getting to a bowl game is a whole hell of a lot harder if you lose tonight. It's a math equation. You're 2-4 with 6 games left. You got to find a way to win 4 out of your last 6 games. That's hard, right? So yeah, like it or not, there's, I know we're in early October, but there's less of the season than you think there is. And it gets tougher in November. So that's what it is. I didn't do that. They did that. They pushed in all their chips on this game. And I'm with them. I think, it's a significant deal. And I think it's not like I'm telling, the seniors to just take a hike after the game, but I think you would see a shift if Nebraska loses the football game tonight. One more quick call. Triggered Bob, go ahead, man. What's up?
Hey, quick call, Hap. I was trying to get less triggered, but I don't know. This week has me a little PTSD vibes from Frost when we have a bad loss. And all of a sudden, it was the best week of practice when we were ready to take on the world. I mean, Ben Scott even said, I think our line could take on anybody in the nation. I was like, well, how about the guys you just played at Michigan? I mean, they whooped us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope we do well, but it just feels like the Mike Tyson quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I mean, Illinois is going to come to play too. Hope I'm wrong. Go Huskers, and you guys have a good weekend.
Thanks, Bob. Well, I'll tell you what, Nebraska got punched in the mouth last week. All right, so let's see if they have a plan. And once again, I didn't say that; they said that. That ain't me. That's them. Plenty more on this throughout the show. I appreciate your guys' calls. We'll continue to take them once we get through some guests here. Bryan Munson is next on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's four-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Are you ready for your best year of health yet? Join Nebraska Medicine for Break for Breakfast, a free drive-through event that could make a life-saving difference. On Friday morning, October 13th, drive through one of 3 locations between 6:30 and 8:30 for a free breakfast and crucial cancer screening information.
Did you know that early detection is key when it comes to fighting cancer?
That's right. And at Break for Breakfast, you'll get information about different types of cancer screenings without leaving your car.
And don't forget, a free and delicious breakfast.
Mark your calendar for October 13th from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and head over to one of these locations. Omaha Home for Boys off 52nd and Ames Street, Shadow Lake Town Center off 72nd Street and Highway 370, or Village Point Health Center, just south of Dodge near 175th and Burke Streets.
Visit nebraskamed.com/breakfast for all the drive-through event details. That's nebraskamed.com/breakfast.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Bacon Fast is back at Rodizio Grill. Steak wrapped in bacon, pork belly, and more. Happening nightly through October at no extra charge. Only at Rodizio Grill, the Brazilian steakhouse.
Located in Lincoln's Haymarket.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Time out!
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show. On 1620, The Zone.
Hey, quickly here. Keisei Tominaga has been named preseason All-Big Ten. One of 10 players selected by the media that cover Big Ten basketball. Keisei Tominaga is a preseason All-Big Ten player. How about that? Not a unanimous selection. That would be just for Terrence Shannon, Jameer Young, Ubui, and Zach Edey. But Keisei Tominaga, mentioned in the same breath as some of the Big Ten's best. That's a pretty cool honor for him to start off basketball season. Let's talk football recruiting with Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Joins us down the 42 Degrees, the Source hotline. Munson, good morning, man. How are you?
I'm good. I love that Tominaga, preseason all-conference pick. I tell you what, he makes Nebraska basketball so fun to watch. Oh my gosh,
really does.
It's like tuning in. Like I would equate it in my world to like turning like back in the prime or close to it. Like I just find it like there's just like a good golf match, like whether Tiger's making a run or Rory's making a run or whatever. Like I'm not typically a basketball guy, but I will tune in to watch that. And the night that he is on fire, I absolutely just find myself just enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah,
it's so much fun to watch.
It's one of the craziest things when you're sitting there in the arena and then he just touches the basketball or crosses half court and there's like this ooh, you know the sound of Memorial Stadium when somebody's got like nobody in front of them, and they're just like there's 40 yards of green space and there's that sound. It's like, whoa, that's every time Keisei Tominaga touches the ball, that's what happens.
I love that. I absolutely love it. And I tell you what, he makes watching basketball so much more fun. I'm just so happy for him. That's great.
Yeah. All right. Let's I want to ask you some questions sort of about the bye week and how things might be handled there. But just generally now on the recruiting front, obviously we've been sort of in this holding pattern now for a couple of weeks where we're watching a few different guys. Don't think there's much of an update still on the Grant Bricks situation. But I think would you call it still that we're in sort of a holding pattern on as far as recruiting is concerned in the immediate?
Yeah, no, I think, I don't think anything really has changed there on the Grant Bricks front from Nebraska in general. I mean, there's maybe a couple of indicators that things have changed on, both the Kansas State and the Oklahoma fronts. I mean, Kansas State's picking up interest in Navarro Shunke. And Navarro Shunke is a name that Nebraska fans should all be very, very, very aware of. He was absolutely part of the picture, following a camp last summer where he worked out for Coach Raiola, picked up an offer. He's a spectacular wrestler, and was really, still in conversation, discussion, to make it to the very first junior day, like this last spring. And then he wasn't there and wasn't part of the list, and we have not heard from him ever again. And it just kind of, Nebraska had just kind of moved on in that regard. But now all of a sudden, K-State's picking up interest there, which I think is interesting. Could be a sign, may not be anything. It may not be anything at all. But the other side of this too, though, is that OU is now leading for another offensive lineman out of, I believe, California. And again, could mean something, could mean nothing. And people will go, well, that's an IOL. That's an interior offensive lineman. Yes, that is absolutely true. But I have seen more and more, on these kind of individual breakdowns in terms of like offensive tackles to interior offensive linemen, where there seems to be a real lack of consistency there, like where, recruiting services have them ranked and projected, and then really, the school sees them playing inside or outside. Grant Brix is rated as an IOL on 3, for example.
It's really about like, it's not what you are, it's more of where you're being recruited. Like, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that, I think that everybody would say that Brix is capable of IOL, and typically most are. But I think there's that another athletic kind of, step that you have to take to be able to play offensive tackle, particularly in the Big Ten. And I think that's a difference between, what Nebraska is chasing and what Nebraska kind of currently has, right? I mean, they need that guy that can be, has the feet, has that athleticism, and maybe a little bit more of a natural offensive tackle versus a guy that can play the position, but maybe isn't like necessarily great at it.
Yeah. How much do you enjoy watching videos of Carter Nelson just running at like half speed and crushing everybody in Ainsworth?
It's amazing to me. I tell you what, I've been fascinated with what Carter's doing this season, because I've actually had to do my stat checker. I've had to add rushing statistics, passing statistics, and receiving statistics. And in fact, his passing and his receiving, his passing and his rushing statistics this last year were way better than his receiving statistics. And it was maybe one of the most odd, like, kind of things to plug it in. I had to like go back and double check the numbers that I was seeing from this last week. But Ainsworth they've got a really, really good team. If you go back and kind of take a look and see what they have done defensively against some teams, I think that this was really the difference between, last season to this season. They wanted to make a deeper run last year, and they were not able to do it. This year, they seem to have a little bit more game up front, particularly on the defensive line. And Carter gave them a lot of credit, basically saying that that's not a backer kind of situation there to limit those guys in 8-man football. You have to have defensive linemen. And I think that's been the difference for them so far this season. They have thrown some shutouts. They have kept a lot of their opponents less than double-digit scores, and you just don't see that a lot in 8-man football. So I think Ainsworth has got to be feeling very, very good about their squad this year, and Carter is just having, statistically, it's just an amazing season what he's able to do.
Hey, you were talking about the, sort of the tackle to interior guys and how that sort of area is gray. I wonder, when you look at a guy like Carter Nelson, and everybody sort of has him earmarked for tight end at this point, but obviously you see an athlete, and a not so refined athlete at this point, right? It's still sort of a ball of clay. Like I would imagine that Nebraska thinks that there's a lot of different things that they could do with them, and not just sort of, I don't know if it's square peg round hole, but it just sort of make him to be a tight end. Like I would just imagine they get him, and then they see how the body develops and sort of see what happens to him over his career with that frame. Like, is it crazy to think that he might not play tight end?
Not initially, no. I mean, he's the first person, that told me. I brought up that same topic with him last week, and I said, what's the thought? What's the thought on playing a jumbo X? What's the thought on, slot wide a jumbo X? Does it really make a difference? I mean, are you talking to Coach McGuire, or are you firmly in the room for tight end? He said, I don't even play tight end today. I've never played the tight end position.
Right.
I've only ever played wide receiver. He said, nobody really knows what I can do, until I get there. And Nebraska said basically they're not going to put the mittens on him. He is firmly going to be put in the situations to go ahead and see like where he can fit, where he can provide value. I think we would all agree that, having a difference maker at any of those spots, I think would be an improvement. They've been looking for a big-bodied receiver. I think he could be the guy. I think some people have kind of noted, obviously, that you're making a tremendous jump, from 8-man football to D1, and I'm not going to disagree with that. I think the part where you have to go ahead and say, I'm going to be a believer, in him is just because of his athleticism, his build, his physical characteristics and makeup. I think that's the part that kind of gives him an edge in my eyes. And I just feel like if I'm going to be betting on somebody to go ahead and say that guy is going to find a way to be a contributor, kind of like a Fedoni, I'm going to go ahead and give it to him. But then I could see him at some point adding to, his weaponry to play with his hand in the dirt. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take some blocking experience and some weight and some strength.
I'm super curious to see what they see when he gets on campus, and then of course how it develops as well with them. But yes, I do enjoy the Friday night clips of him just sort of like jogging past everybody in 8-man.
Light work.
Light work. Okay, so next week Nebraska has their first bye week in the Matt Rule era. Do we have a sense of how it may go? Rule mentioned something about it earlier this week, and he was sort of dismissive of it because they have a big game in front of them, obviously tonight.
Right.
But what do you think next week will look like, considering what we've already talked about before as it pertains to the 2024 class that's pretty well full at this point? What might we see next week?
Yeah, well, I mean, historically, you want to go back and take a look at any type of trends and see how, previous head coaches have kind of done the job. And I could see Nebraska wanting to keep Rule a little bit closer. So if there was and I haven't had a chance to kind of examine the games inside the state next week's schedule. I think I need to go back and pull that down and just take a look, because I could see him wanting to hit something on Thursday, maybe bouncing between a couple of games on Friday night if he can kind of pull it off. Maybe it's not, outside the realm of possibility that somebody, from Grant Bricks' side sees a Nebraska coach there. I think Kansas State has been over to see him already. I think that they'll make the rounds, obviously, within the state, but we know that they're going to be kicking some guys out down to Texas. Garrett McGuire will be down in Duncanville. I think they play Midlothian or I think they played Midlothian. I can't remember who else it would be, but Duncanville hosted opponent on Friday night. Garrett McGuire will be there, and that's obviously huge. You had basically Zachary Turner, Ace Theus, and Kevin Ford all there a week ago. Kevin Ford is going to be one of the top players in the nation in 2026, and they made a strong impression on him despite the loss, which I think was a lot of people's real concern. You bring in 60 recruits, you get drilled. I mean, let's just be honest. It's 45-7. You're not doing anything offensively or defensively that basically you can kind of imitate from previous games that season. You can't stop the number 2 team in the country. But then you have like guys from 2026 that are just kind of their lens is this team's going to look completely different, in 2 seasons when I'm looking at them again.
Yep.
So I thought that was so refreshing, basically, to not let that kind of hang over the weekend and kind of fly the red flag and say that's not a team you can consider because you've seen them lose like that before. I think that they're focusing on the big picture and what Rule has typically done, at Temple and at Baylor and the rebuilds that he's been able to kind of drive. So I see them getting into Texas. I don't see a lot of 2024 guys that maybe they're going to get out and go see, but I see that, I think that they're going to be really focusing on the 25s and the 26s and trying to get those classes kind of going on the right path. They could be hosting junior days as early as January.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to want to start putting those lists together right away to make sure those guys are getting on campus as many times as possible.
Yeah, I would think so too. What do you think tonight, Munson?
I tell you what, I got a couple different things for you. Number one, if I was a betting man, I think I kind of like the unders. I think it was like 43.5. 43.
Yeah.
If I was like betting, I
42 and a half
like
now.
42 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's still influencing me one way or another. I think I'm still on the side of the unders, but I think I like Nebraska's chances. I think Rule tried to set the tone with a tough practice on Sunday. I've watched Illinois earlier on in the season. I didn't think that they looked good. I think that they lost a lot of talent from last year. I think they still have some dudes up front, but I think Nebraska still has got some game in them, and I think that they're going to get it done tonight in Champaign. So I'm taking the Huskers money line and the unders of the 42 and a half.
There you go. All right, Munson. Well, enjoy the football tonight and throughout the rest of the weekend, and a nice early Sunday morning for you. You'll be watching with a cup of tea, probably.
A cup of tea, watching them in England, and still coming off of a great victory on Sunday afternoon against the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was pretty dominant. All right, man. Have a good weekend. We'll see you later.
Talk to you next week. See you.
Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com, who will be watching as Buffalo Bills play the London Jaguars starting on Sunday morning at 8:30. No random Toy Story broadcast for this game, but you will be watching the Bills. That was a dominant win by them. Later in the show, my top 5 this week, or my I have to do a top 5 when Josh is gone. I usually do a bottom 5, but I feel good today. We're not going negative. NFL. So I realized that on Fridays we talk about college football. We don't really have a chance to get into the NFL and what's going on this weekend. So my top 5 NFL storylines to watch this weekend will be coming up at the end of the noon hour. Sipple will join, of course, at 12:30. We have our keys and peas still to come. But up next, Bryan Christopherson from the road somewhere, I believe. Hopefully he's in the state. He's probably in the state of Iowa, maybe in Illinois. By this point, we'll talk to Bryan Christopherson next on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Say goodbye to summer and hello to cash loans. Let's face it, your personal banker probably won't loan you thousands of dollars today, but Saul's Jewelry and Loan will. Simply bring in your boat, camper, RV, jet ski, ATV, motorcycle, even your beautiful convertible, along with a clear title, and Saul's will loan you up to $50,000. No credit check, no hassle, and more importantly, no worries. Saul's indoor storage facility is so clean and secure, you can store your precious Harley-Davidson for the winter and pick it up next spring. So if you need a quick cash loan, Saul's is here to help.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Attention migratory bird hunters, it's time to get HIP, your new Harvest Information Program number, that is. It's required by law and is done through the permit system on the Game and Parks website at outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. I wish you a safe hunting season. Say it's the time of year to catch big fish in Nebraska. Zzz, bloop, and go visit a state parkland. This time of year, larger game fish are putting on the fat reserves for the upcoming cold weather season, and they're more apt to be caught. And Nebraska's 76 area state parklands, the grounds to those remain open for all kinds of outdoor recreation, including camping. So come see us. That'll wrap it up for now. Thank you for listening. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health.
If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Craving some authentic gumbo this fall? Join us for Gumbo Days at Shuck's Fish House this Tuesday through Thursday. Enjoy a cup, bowl, sample 3, or all 5 selections at any of our 3 locations. Check out shucksfishhouse.com for all the details.
Vallis Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vallis has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vallis, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall to a Vallis Pumpkin Patch, best of all.
Hey, Brian. Bryan Christopherson.
I gotta take this a tap.
Be right, be Rooney. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, let's have our weekly chat with Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7. Last week, I left Bryan with the note of, hey, next week when we talk, it'll be game day, and also the Twins could be out of the playoffs. Au contraire, the Twins have won a playoff series, and Bryan Christopherson is a happy man driving probably somewhere in the state of Iowa right now. Hello, BC.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, 25 minutes from the Illinois border here. And yeah, how you like them apples? How you like Sonny Gray, Pablo Lopez, Carlos Correa doing October things?
No, I think my favorite guy is Duran. Just give me all of that. Yeah. Like, I want to see him once a game, no matter what. That should be in like the TV contract that he has to pitch an inning of every game.
His stuff is filthy. Now, he had a rough second half after the All-Star, actually, where it's like 2 guys on base every night, and it was an adventure. But yeah, he's been dialed in, and he scared me a little bit with his finger injury. You know, I had to go look at him for about 5 minutes in game 2. But yeah, he could throw 104, and then he drops like an 87 curve on somebody. It's kind of fun.
I've learned this from watching good relievers, at least when the Royals were good. Wade Davis was this guy. I've learned that the best relievers are just total wild cards. You know, and you like, maybe it's an experience one day, like maybe it just doesn't work out. But at their best, they're complete freaks of nature. And that's basically what Joan Duran has done so far this postseason. So congratulations, Bryan, a Twins postseason victory and a series victory. And now everybody, including myself, is rooting for a Twins-Orioles ALCS. I want it so bad.
That would be pretty good. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough against the Astros, but I don't count the Twins out because they've got the pitching this postseason to make it interesting. So I would say Astros in 4 if I'm realistic, but my heart says Twins in 5.
Okay, go with your heart, man. It'll never steer you wrong. All right, so update from the road. Do you go past the world's largest truck stop on this drive?
No, I don't think so. I've actually had my head down in my computer writing the entire time. So I have not been tracking Brunson's route very well, so I hope he's taking us to Champaign.
Okay.
He told me he is. So
I hope so.
He said we're almost at the Illinois border, but I haven't seen the signs yet, so I'm beginning to wonder.
That's pretty nondescript. You'll know it when you cross over the Mississippi, and then you'll wake up. Okay, so tonight I was sort of setting the scene for it at the start of the show. I mean, put it in context how, like, and I guess I don't want to overdo it. We got a couple calls that were like, "Come on, you guys! It doesn't have to be do or die." But it's a big game tonight, and I think it's a big game because the coach, Matt Rule, he said after the game on Saturday, "Hey, you're going to find out what we are on Friday. You're going to find out a lot about us on Friday," and he sort of doubled down on that on Monday, and so they believe that they're going to respond. And I think for that reason, and then the mathematical reasons as well, whether it's getting to a bowl game or winning the West, whatever your goals are for the year, it just feels like this one is a sort of have to have it type of game.
Yeah, I just wrote actually that it's not do or die, but most preferably do, because it is like, it feels like with the Minnesota loss the first week, I think Brunson and I were talking about this on the ride, where I think a lot of people sort of projected Nebraska might be 1-1 in the first two road games. And so that kind of put them one game behind schedule. There's some people who I think thought in the preseason Illinois was going to be better than they have been so far. So maybe to some, it depends what the fans thought, but I think there's a decent number that might have had Nebraska like 3-3 at the bye. So this is an opportunity to maybe get one back that you gave away that first week, and there is momentum. There is a window for momentum, at least in October. Now, I'm not saying that like, Nebraska's the favorite against everybody. They'd be a bunch of pick'em games going forward. Even like Northwestern, Purdue, Nebraska's going to have to fight for everything it gets. But just think about this: if people are waking up having their breakfast tomorrow, and Nebraska's 3-3, you know how it is in this state. There's going to be a little bit of a jolt. There's going to be a look at the schedule and sort of a thought like, okay, there's a path here to get to 5-4 or something like that. But you've got to get this one on Friday to make all that a possibility and enjoy those type of conversations. Otherwise, it is going to feel like a very long bye week, because it's just going to be the continued like, they're behind sort of the schedule of summer predictions that everybody had and things of that nature. So it's obviously year one of the Rule era, and it's not everything what happens on this Friday night, but it is definitely something, especially for a head coach that on Wednesday with the media talked about. One of the things he thinks has sort of held this program back has been the lack of development time with bowl game preparation. So if you're looking at it from that angle, and how do you get to 6 wins and do the math to pull that off, this is most certainly a big deal for that, and that topic Rule was speaking about just 2 days ago.
I want to go back to something that he brought up again, I think last week, or maybe even at the beginning of this week, but he most notably sort of came out with it at Big Ten Media Days, and he said, I want to get to this program to the point where we earn the respect back. I want to bring the respect back to Nebraska football. And I think what really sort of, jogged something and sort of triggered him a little bit last week was the fact that did not happen against Michigan. That was not a bring the respect back game. And it might not have meant winning, but it would have meant being there and being present the entire game. And so I feel like that's what really flipped the switch this week. What is earning the respect back look in this game in particular?
I mean, it's getting the mojo back on defense. First off, it's the defense showing that, okay, Michigan's Michigan, that's an outlier, and this is a defense that against teams in its weight class, which it will see over the next month, they can more than hold their own. And, you got to start there. So I think the first thing I'd point out is, Illinois hasn't had as much success running the ball, as they have in the past when Chase Brown was around, and they really had, 2 or 3 running backs who could really come at you. They haven't been dynamic on that front so far this year. So Nebraska's got to start there and take away that piece and put Altmaier in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and see what he does, because he's thrown 7 interceptions this year. I think he can dent you with his legs and do some interesting stuff where, he could have a really good game. But if you get him in spots where he's got to make that throw, he's feeling some heat, and he has an offensive line in front of him that's given up 21 sacks so far this year, that makes a QB sometimes a little nervous back there. So Nebraska's got to get some heat, some pressure. It seemed like the way Tony White was talking this week, like that's very much on his mind, maybe trusting guys more and dialing up some aggression to try to get home. So we'll see if that's a part of it. That's part of getting that respect back, is just being that formidable defensive team and wearing that badge that Rule sort of put on them of embracing, like, you're kind of the lion's heart of this team, like you're the group that we're going to play behind. So that group has to own that tonight while playing without two of their better guys in Reimer and Singleton. So it's a big test. They got to keep Isaiah Williams in check. He's a dangerous guy who's caught 30 passes this year, and he's elusive in space. So he's a guy, maybe he catches 6 or 7 passes, but don't let his yards per catch end up being 15 yards. Make it be 7 or 8 yards, something like that. So I'd start on that side of the ball, honestly, and then obviously offense. We can go back to just like you got to get Anthony Grant going. He's got to have a solid game where it's just a drumbeat presence of 4 yards here, 5 yards there, and by the end of it, you look up and he had a nice 115-yard day and no fumbles. Something like that, I think, could help the QBs out, no matter who they put back there.
Well, it's a couple teams that, and you mentioned it with Altmaier, that are prone to turning the ball over, or they have been so far in their first 5 games. When I heard him say that at the beginning of the year, I don't want to dwell on it too much, but when I heard him say that at the beginning of the year, I thought, I think he wants to create an environment. And he wants to create the team, just like every other coach does, where Nebraska is not the team that shoots themselves in the foot to lose a game. It happened in the first game. It happened a little bit in the second game as well. And so I think tonight, when you're going up against a team that has a little bit of that in their DNA as well, with the quarterback who leads the nation in interceptions so far, I think it's like doubly important that you aren't that team tonight and you don't sort of like rope yourself into a real sickos game.
Yeah, absolutely. And both these teams have started slow too. I mean, everybody knows Nebraska's sort of offensive struggles that you could say throughout the game, but in the first half in particular, they've been outscored, I think 17-7 in the first quarter. I believe they only have 7 points. Illinois has been outscored 39-10 in the first quarter this year, so they've not been a strong starting team. So someone, unless we're looking at a 0-0 game at the end of the first frame, which is entirely possible, I suppose, someone is going to break through and break that trend a little bit and play from ahead, which will be a different experience for them in some ways. So I agree with you, though. It's key, be the team that makes that first play of aggression where you tip a pass and pick it off or something like that, and it just gets your sideline jumping, and you give yourself the short field. So, Rule had that quote this week about how Michigan's best players were easy to recognize last week because they're their best players. They made the plays that you expect great players to make. I know some people snicker and say, well, who are Nebraska's great players and all that? But the point being, the best on your roster, the guys who are capable of flipping a game. I think of a guy like Javen Wright. I don't know where you put him on this defense as far as where you'd rank him, but he's a guy who's come close sometimes to making plays, and maybe he gets through and does something, or Gifford picks off a pass. Billy Kemp takes a short pass and runs 50 yards. Somebody like that's got to step up and sort of set the tone early on.
How close are we, and is tonight the night that we see Jeff Sims?
I think it's very possible. I've expected that Harburg would start. I'm always open to be surprised on that. And they did bring Heinrich up to talk to the media this week too, so that means sometimes that gives you clues. But I think Jeff has every week gotten a little bit better. And, if he does go into the game at some point, that's going to be such an interesting sidebar because you're talking about somebody who's, first off, there's got to be some rust there, you would think. And also, the 2 games he's played in a Husker uniform have obviously not gone as hoped. And there's sort of a feeling of concern with the ball in his hands right now. So he's going to have to immediately prove that he can jump right into the fire and handle it. So that would be a very interesting scenario if that arises. This could be one of those nights, Happer, where we get a little bit of clarification on QB one way or the other. You know, like if Harburg were to play really well and they win the game, it's kind of hard to turn course at that point after the bye, even if Sims does get healthy, I think, coming off that win and that momentum. So Harburg did take some steps in the passing game last week. I thought even in that loss, and it seemed like Rule thought that too. So that's a big part of this too. Can he look sort of like that and maybe build off it just one more notch against this Illinois defense that is nothing like it was last season when it was really a top 5 unit in the country. They've really taken a step back.
Nope, there's a reason why I'm calling it stoppable force versus movable object this week, and that's Nebraska's offense versus Illinois' defense. That's the way it's been so far. All right, BC, enjoy the rest of your drive. Say hello to Bruns for me, and enjoy the weekend.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll have a lot to talk about next week about the Twins getting ready for that ALCS.
That's right. See you later, BC. That's Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7, who's going to Chambana, as they call it. Champaign-Urbana or Urbana, Chambana. You ever been to, hey, Joey, have you ever been to Chambana?
I've drove through that area several times when I visit my sister in Columbus. It's a small town.
Just a little tiny
small
college town. Nice campus.
Yeah, nice campus.
I went there in college. One of my buddies went there, and we visit. They have their big St. Patrick's Day weekend, and it's called Unofficial, is what it's called. And so basically, it's just a bleep show the entire day. Everybody's just hammered, just zombieing around campus. So that's really my only experience with it. But of what I remember, it was lovely.
Yeah,
lovely.
I haven't been into the campus. Just driving through Interstate 74 on the way. It's just a small town. The last time we were through was a couple of months ago, and there was construction on the interstate.
It'll be
all over the place.
It'll be a sleepy night tonight.
Yeah,
and in Champaign, even though it is just a Friday night game. All right, and it's mildly in prime time, I guess, as well. We'll come back. Don't forget, Sipple's going to join us still in the noon hour. We'll ask him about his new phrase that he likes to use. Sipple's going around saying holla to everybody. So we'll be certain to ask him about that. Keys and Peas still in the 1 o'clock hour. Up next, we have the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Do we have to get the elbows out and make a little room at the top of the NFC food chain for Detroit?
When we went through that exercise about what would make a successful season for every franchise, the thing I said about the Lions was hosting a playoff game. It's hard not to think that A, they are the favorite in that division, which means, John, then B, they will probably be a 3 seed at worst.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Few showers possible this morning, but increasing sunshine throughout the day. Windy and chilly. A high today of 56, but likely still mostly feeling like the 40s. Gusts today out of the northwest possible up to 40 miles an hour. Tonight, staying clear and chilly. Freeze warnings and frost advisories in effect for eastern Nebraska and western Iowa, including a frost advisory for the Omaha Metro. Low tonight of 35 degrees. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Follow your imagination to the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. Bring the whole gang and explore for treasure on the pirate shipwreck. See how the West was fun. Pretend you're a superhero as you jump on giant bounce pads. Maybe reserve your own campfire rental where you can roast marshmallows and tell stories. It's all up to you. And of course, go on a hayride and grab your own pumpkin. Priced by the size, not the pound. Follow your imagination at the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. 48th between Cornhusker and Highway 370. More info at BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Final weekend. The fall glass sale is here at 42 degrees, and we're up to our glass in inventory. Yep, our glass products are priced up to 90% off, like straws for only $2.99. How about hand pipes starting at $7.99? Water pipes as low as $19.99. Check out all our glass products at 42degrees.com. Then stop by any store in Omaha and now in Lincoln and get up to 90% off all glass and meet our friendly, knowledgeable, and professional staff. by your mom's house. Restrictions apply. Products may contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Good boy. At Cox, we think all customers deserve a reliable connection. So whether you're a loyal customer who's been with us for years, or you're new to the family like this little guy, you'll get the same great deals on the same great internet. And no matter who you are. See how you can save at cox.com/deals for all. Other restrictions apply. All rights reserved.
Fear has a name. This ain't no pumpkin patch. Ice cream, you rock baby. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 172nd and Giles. Sponsored in part by Raising Cane, Stereo West, and Ivy.
Vallis Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vallis has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vallis, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall to a Vallis Pumpkin Patch, best of all.
Snap in action this NFL season with FanDuel. It is America's #1 sports book, and right now, new customers, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, Nick, win or lose.
Yeah, win or lose. And if you've been thinking of joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action because the app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting option, anything from spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. A great NFL slate. Maybe not necessarily starting with the Thursday night game, but you've got some good games to take a look at. Visit FanDuel.com, get on the action, use the promo code ZONE, and you can kick off the NFL season. Again, FanDuel.com/zone. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.sportsbook.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, it's the odd news with Oddson, but without Oddson today, as he is off to snowy Utah. We did get a text earlier from Cody. Cody has a well-embedded mole in Utah. This is sent from my Utah correspondent. They do indeed have snow in Utah. There's a little ice patch right next to a doorway from somewhere in Utah. So thank you, Cody, for being our Utah correspondent today. And then when Josh's boots on the ground in Utah, we'll have another Utah correspondent.
Utah's beautiful.
That's what I've heard.
I was just there a couple months ago at Canyonlands and Arches National Park. It's beautiful over there.
I've heard it's very difficult to find a beer, but it is lovely.
I tried some beer down there. It's pretty good.
Okay, you found some beer?
Yeah, found some beer.
It's good. Glad you were able to find some.
Yep.
All right, so Joey's our guy today, and he's going to present the odd news.
Alrighty, Connor. The writer, talked about the fire over at Memorial Stadium in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was another fire at a venue. The Ryder Cup venue in Rome goes up in flames. Smoke billows from course where Europe's golf stars triumph over U.S. with an investigation into the blaze, which is underway right now.
Oh man, they blew it up.
Oh yeah,
blow it up.
So there's pictures provided in the article. It's just a big blaze of fire. It's huge.
Huge fire right next to a beautiful golf course.
Yeah, so firefighters blazed a huge blaze yesterday afternoon at the luxury golf venue where Europe sensationally won last week's Ryder Cup after beating the U.S.
Yeah, they crushed the U.S.
Dozens of fire crews and the police were called to the temporary hospitality building at the Marco Simone Golf Club in Rome at 5:07 to tackle the massive inferno that sent flames and smoke shooting into the sky.
I mean, yeah, looking at the pictures, I guess it wouldn't surprise me that, so they build like these temporary sort of suites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they clear them out. You got some wind, you got some dust coming in. Wouldn't necessarily surprise me if it was just sort of an accident. Obviously nobody there, nobody really cares about the temporary stuff, and they got it happen a week later. But yes, for those of you who are ready to make the joke, I'll go ahead and make it for you. There you go. That's emblematic of the United States performance at the Ryder Cup. And it was.
Yeah,
I can't argue with that.
Took a big damage. It's a 3-story facility.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna be there anymore.
Yeah. Doesn't
It's like they'll have to go ahead and rebuild that one.
Yeah, it just looking at one of the pictures, it's taken like pretty much half or over half of the building, and the left side looks like it was untouched. I mean, who knows what it is right now?
It's a pretty giant flame.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It's huge.
Okay. All right. So
man.
there's the USA golf going up in flames.
A perfect summary of what went down for the US.
Just crushed. Next,
I was gonna say Josh Connor.
Mm-hmm.
NYC Subway Courtesy Counts campaign tells riders to stop being jerks, not clip toenails on the train.
That would be great.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad behavior I've witnessed.
So one thing I've learned is, I'm obviously not a common subway rider, but I've done it before, and most of the time, people are minding their own business. They're doing their own thing. They're staying in their own corner. Nobody's really talking to each other. But some of the times, somebody makes a home in there, and they're going to take a nice long ride. And look, it's an opportunity. So my cousins, or actually a couple of my cousins, they have to take the train in every day to the city. They live on Long Island. They're going to take the train in, and that's like it's like an hour and a half. They have 3 hours where they're in transit the entire day. You can't just sit there for 3 hours. You can't just waste 3 hours of your day, the entire day. So to clip your toenails, it's a little much, but I understand the sentiment of actually wanting to be productive in some way, shape, or form on the train. I really do. I have empathy for these people. I have sympathy for them. So don't want to see it. Don't want the bare feet out. Don't want the dogs out on the train, Joey, but I do understand the idea of needing to actually get something productive done.
Just don't be nasty.
Don't
be outrageous. Don't be nasty.
If there's a line, and if you think you're going over it, you're probably going over it. And I do think clipping your toenails is going over it, because the thing is, like, where are you clipping them? Where the clippings flying? They could be flying anywhere.
Oh yeah.
You know what happens when you clip your toenails? The nails just start shooting out all over.
Or they're gonna get, depending on.
You could end up in somebody's eye. It could be a hazard.
I don't know if there's a seat cushion or anything. You don't want to sit on that as well if it's sharp enough to hurt you.
I mean, it's already disgusting enough on there. We don't need to add toenails.
No, we don't. We don't need to.
So this is in New York City.
Yeah, New York City. Yes. So this article provided a nice little graphic as examples. One of them is watching your backpack. Give everyone room to stand.
They made like a cartoon.
Be a stand-up rider. Give up your seat if someone needs it more.
Yeah.
So you usually if you're younger and there's a elderly couple that needs to sit down.
And the third one is the most important one, Joey. Read that one.
leave us off the conference call.
That's exactly right. Don't talk on your phone in public. You know, it's just
it's annoying.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We don't care what's going on. You don't need to be loud and
keep it private.
Yeah, keep it private
as much as you possibly can.
I've seen a lot of videos where people pull pranks and they just go around in public and just talk out loud, say some of the most outrageous things. I've seen a lot of that, especially on the Reels or TikTok.
Oh yeah, they're all over the TikTok.
Mhm.
People are doing pranks on the TikTok again.
Yes.
And our third story.
Oh, this is nasty, Connor.
Okay.
Talk about toenails. How about giraffe poop? Custom officials seize giraffe poop from traveler at Minnesota airport.
Oh, what's going on in Minneapolis?
So, custom officials in Minnesota seized a box of giraffe feces from a traveler who arrived from Kenya and said she planned to use the droppings to make a necklace. Nice way to wear some jewelry. But U.S. Customs and Border Protection said the Iowa resident, so that makes sense, was selected for inspection by agricultural specialists upon arriving at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport from a trip to Kenya.
Okay, so she's from Iowa. She went to Kenya. She came back and she found some giraffe poop and she was going to make a necklace out
I'm
of it.
guessing the Minneapolis airport is the connection from, I'm guessing it's Nairobi where she came from. That's their capital over there.
I would have no idea what the airports in Kenya are like. That one's all you, Joey. How do you know that?
I know my geography.
You do, yeah. You know the big side.
I'm guessing that's the capital, if I remember right.
Straight into Minneapolis, and then in your box. Look, everybody, you know, you go to the ocean and you want to bring back some seashells, stuff that you find on the beach. You're like, oh wow, this is a great memento of my time. And she chose
poop,
giraffe poop. I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad. Find something else. Get a magnet or something.
Yeah.
How about a postcard?
That's what I do. Everywhere I go on vacation, I grab a magnet and bring it home.
Get a
Just put it on
magnet.
my fridge.
Exactly.
It's simple. It's simple, cheap. I mean, poop could be. I don't want to go into the specific details, Connor, but who knows what she went through to get those feces.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we didn't even think about that. It's bad enough that it just is what it is.
Mhm.
Imagine what she had to do to get her hands on it. Jeez. Okay, well, that's today's segment of people being
disgusting
and I don't know, unaware of their surroundings, things of that nature. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. The noon hour is coming up. We have Sipple joining at the bottom. I do want to get a little bit more into that preseason All Big Ten team with Keisei Tominaga joining the list. So maybe we could talk about that for a little bit. Of course, we'll take your predictions for the game. We do certainly have to discuss Al Michaels not eating any vegetables throughout his entire life. So that is coming up as well. Still plenty more here in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. But first, snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all you have to do is place a $5 bet. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. So if you bet $5 on DJ Moore to score a touchdown last night, you won that bet. You won it times 3, right? And so you get the winnings from the bet and $200 in bonus bets. There's a win for you right there. Not just anytime touchdowns, but spreads and other props and overs and unders. That's all the things that you can find and more on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Head over to FanDuel.com/Happer, Happer. Kick off the NFL season and get yourself going with FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
It's an NFL doubleheader on Sports USA. And first, we're in the Motor City as Sanders, Thielen, and the Carolina Panthers go to battle with the Detroit Lions led by Goff, St. Brown, and the rookie Jahmyr Gibbs. Then, it's off to Mile High as Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and the New York Jets fly into Denver to face Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, and the Denver Broncos. It's the Panthers at the Lions, then the Jets at the Broncos. This Sunday on Sports USA.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
We created a simple PDF that gives you everything you need to know about branding, designing, and building a website that increases revenue. Download the website playbook for free at jmonline.com. If you're considering a website project but not sure who to hire, go to jmonline.com and download the free website playbook. It's a guide to a high-performing website. That's jmonline.com.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click nebraska.beer to find brews near you. Omaha Maverick Hockey heads to Minnesota State for an exhibition game this Saturday. Pre-game is at 5:45. Puck drops at 6 p.m. It's UNO at Minnesota State for exhibition hockey on your home for Mavericks hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Noon hour, the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Quite the discussion going on in the chat right now. And you know what? I'm going to join you guys because I've been wanting to talk about this sort of all week. I asked Bryan Christopherson in the previous hour, is this the week? Is this the game that we finally see Jeff Sims in a real capacity back for the first time, really since the Colorado game, sans one play in the Louisiana Tech game. Matt Rule, I don't want to say that he laid the groundwork for it, but he certainly hasn't been quite as dismissive of it as he has been in weeks past. And he mentioned on Monday that, well, he had a high ankle sprain, and high ankle sprains are 4 to 6 week injuries. And well, this is week number 4 since he's been out. And so this whole time while Heinrich Haarberg has been playing for Nebraska, I've been sort of thinking, okay, and Matt Rule, in my opinion, has talked about Heinrich Haarberg as if he's filling in this entire time. What does he say about Heinrich Haarberg? I feel confident in Heinrich. I feel like we can win games with Heinrich. And it's obviously not the same way that they talk about Jeff. They talked about Jeff in the preseason. I think they realized that they had to sort of tamp that down just because of the temperature of the fan base and what he sort of went through in his first 2 games of the season. And then he got hurt against Colorado. And so now, maybe it's now, or I think it's certainly coming during and then after the bye week going into Nebraska's next game, which is the Northwestern game at home on the 21st. I think this conversation is really here now. What is the role of Jeff Sims? What is the role of Heinrich Haarberg? Does Jeff Sims, if he is back and completely healthy, Rule said on Monday that when they did their practice on Sunday, Jeff Sims was out there and he looked pretty good. What does it mean? Does that mean he's ready? What we know for sure is that Nebraska will not put him out there if he's not 100% healthy. All right. So that's where they're at right now. And I think a large part of that, by the way, and to give credit to Heinrich Haarberg, is because of what he's done so far. He's proved himself as a completely competent backup. Obviously, I think there's shortcomings in what he does, and not that there's not in Jeff Sims' game as well. But I don't. So what they've made it to, I think, is a situation where it's not automatically Jeff Sims' job when he comes back, but I do think he's going to get a shot. And I do think they wouldn't be afraid to play a couple of them at once. And we know that he's the healthiest. Jeff Sims is the healthiest he's been over the last 4 weeks. And so is tonight the night that we see him in a real capacity for the first time since the Colorado game? I think it may be. I think they've been building to that. They've been building to at least that point. I wouldn't be surprised, to be very clear, I wouldn't be surprised if we did not see him tonight. It's one more week. If they're on schedule, if they can keep him out as long as they possibly can, knowing if you get past tonight, you get another 2 weeks post injury, then I think you'd feel really good about it. And then you'd have to have the real conversation coming back prior to the Northwestern game. Let me get this text from George here on the YouTube stream. Does it matter who the quarterback is given the state of the offensive line? That's the real issue. George, that was one of the first things, and it's a great comment, because it was one of the first things I said after Nebraska played against, I think it was Northern Illinois or Louisiana Tech, and we were sort of having the conversation that week. And I said on the Monday after Nebraska had won that game, came back, was like, man, I feel like an idiot for talking about it this entire time, because it doesn't matter. It clearly doesn't matter that much who the quarterback is. They're relatively similar in what they do from a skill set perspective. I'm more talking about it from the perspective of how do they handle it when he's healthy? Because I'm interested. I mean, how do they view the two up against each other? How much does Jeff Sims, and does he give them more? Like, does he give them more possibility? Is there a piece of the offense that still we haven't seen over the last 3 or 4 weeks now since Heinrich Haarberg has been running the show? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it changes a little bit, right? So I just wonder. I don't think we have an answer. I think he's really hesitant to talk about how those two line up against each other because he doesn't want there to be division anywhere. He doesn't want there to be division within the fan base. He doesn't want there to be division within the locker room. But I certainly have noticed over the last couple of weeks, as we've seen more and more of Heinrich Harburg, that people have sort of come back to earth on him. Obviously, he filled in admirably against Northern Illinois, and then it was like, oh, well, what's the problem? He's the guy right now. And now I've seen him a little bit more, and I think it only can help a guy if you continue to give him reps and you continue to go out there throughout this season, and you have the chance to get better every single week. And as Matt Rule said on Monday, there was some stuff that Heinrich did this past Saturday against Michigan that was pretty good. Stuff that I wanted to see. He called it. But I still feel like we have not seen the last of Jeff Sims. I don't feel that way. And I'm curious about how the staff views them sort of up against each other. Once again, it's completely dependent on the health. And if you get past the health part, then where do we go? Right? We don't see him unless he's 100%. But if he's 100%, when and in what situation do we see him? Is he immediately the starter? Is everyone clear on that? I mean, maybe we're the ones who have been sort of making a big deal of it. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people in the fan base who, yes, they want to see him get better, but they've also been like, yeah, okay, I get it. And I think, we could be looking at this from a positive perspective. I think Nebraska has a pretty serviceable backup quarterback. There's not this giant drop-off from 1 to 2 as there has been in previous years. Now, the bad part about it is you don't have a defined, definitive, I don't think, number 1 at this point. But flashback to the offseason and preseason camp. Nobody was talking about Heinrich Harburg pushing Jeff Sims. Nobody was talking about Chubba Purdy pushing Jeff Sims, right? And now that we've seen it, it's like, interesting. Now, obviously, there's the turnover piece of it. And I don't want to go back to the conversation we were having following the Colorado game, but I got pretty fired up that week. After that game, just saying like, hey, and I'm getting in the comments right now. It's like he's a turnover machine. Okay, he's a turnover machine. By the way, look at the quarterback for Illinois. It's a turnover machine too. He's a turnover machine, but that turnover machine, the guy that you categorize as a turnover machine, has turned the ball over at a 3 times higher rate than what he did at his career in Georgia Tech when you already called him a turnover machine, right? When you called him a turnover machine, I hate to say it so many times, but when you called him that, he's got about a similar turnover rate to what Heinrich Harburg has in his 3 games as a starter. So keep that in mind. It's not just black and white. It's not just turnover or no turnover. There's no turnovers. There's really safe. There's some, which you can live with. And then there's a billion, which is kind of what Jeff Sims was doing in the first couple games. And then you had the injury thrown in, and it sort of made the project and the conversation a little bit more convoluted. So to get back to tonight, once again, I think you have to know the health. And I'm not sure. I don't think anybody can be exactly sure at this point. He hasn't been listed on Nebraska's injury reports. Rule sort of categorized it on Monday as the idea is, well, he can be out there. He can be practicing. It's just sort of a guy, defensive lineman in practice. It's hard to do because they need to get off and they need to go and stuff like that. But Jeff Sims, you can, a quarterback in practice, you can sort of limit him in what he's doing while he's still practicing. So he's getting those reps, right? We know that. And has there been a practice this week where he's let it go, where he's unleashed it a little bit? I don't know that for a fact, but from the way Rule talked about it on Monday, maybe Sunday was one of those days, or he's at least approaching one of those days. So my official stance, as I asked myself the question, my official prediction for tonight, as far as the Jeff Sims thing is concerned, is maybe there's a spot for him. I don't think tonight is the night you just throw him back in there and you start him, and it's sort of a surprise to everybody. But we'll see. We'll see. I think he's at least approaching that place where he's completely healthy and ready to go again. From you guys in the text line at 402-951-1620. Probably obsessing over it, but I just can't get rid of the sight of Sims dropping snaps. Keep Harburg out there. Yeah, like I said, well, like Jeff said there, I'm probably obsessing over it a little bit. Yeah, maybe. Like in order to get a real evaluation on Justice, which we don't have yet. We don't know. We straight up don't know. We have the history of what he's done at Georgia Tech, and then we have what he's done at Nebraska so far, which is a 1.5, 1 3/4 game sample size of him being 3 times more turnover prone than he's ever been. And he was doing things like dropping snaps and just generally being uncomfortable and not being able to sort of run the offense in an efficient and a calm manner like Matt Rule wants him to. So once again, 25 games of the previous thing, 2 games of this thing, and we can't put the 2 games out of our head because that's what we've seen. You need to understand that what he did in the first 2 games was not what he did in his 25 previous games at Georgia Tech. It wasn't. What he did in Nebraska was a whole hell of a lot worse so far. So, if you believe that the 2-game version of Jeff Sims was the real Jeff Sims, then you have every reason to not want to see him play again. You have every reason to not want to see him play again. But like I said, if you really believe that, you really believe that he's just simply like incapable of catching snaps 100% of the time, which I mean, I just don't think you'd ever think about putting a guy out there if he wasn't actually physically capable of doing that. It'd be like putting a guy who can't see out there. Like, and play quarterback. Yeah, go ahead. No. I mean, so I don't think the coaching staff is blind. I know people have brought that up. I don't think the coaching staff is like blinded by the fact that they brought him in and he's the guy and stuff like that. I don't think that's the case. I just don't think we have a full evaluation on him yet. We're going to get it at some point. And we're gonna find out at some point. And maybe, tonight sort of starts that night, because once again, I just don't think I don't think he's going to turn the ball when you see him next, he'll just drop the snap and fumble 4 times during the, I don't think you'll see that. I think over a greater sample size, you'll see a little bit greater play from him. And what does that mean for Nebraska's offense? Is there still some more to gain? I thought all along going into the season that they would have to put a lot on his shoulders, and they put a lot on his shoulders right away, and it all fell apart, crumbling on top of them, right? So now that the offense, and I know it's crazy sounding, but I think the offense is in a little bit of a better place in terms of comfort with their identity and who they want to be and where they sort of stand in the context of offense, defense, complementary football. You have that piece of it around him. And you have him back healthy, or you're getting close to having him back healthy. That seems like a better situation to be in than the sort of hustle and bustle and the sort of like frantic nature of that first game. Just felt, we said it through the week on both of those weeks. Just that first game just felt really frantic on offense. Felt really frantic. Same thing with the Colorado game. Super just discombobulated, right? Guys sending in motions late and hitting Luke Lindenmeyer as it comes across, and botching the sort of handoff to Gabe Ervin there. Like, that was just it was sort of chaotic. Get him back, settle him down. He's had a chance to sort of watch it for a couple of weeks. I like that position better than the one that he might have been in before. But if you believe that he's just a 4 turnover a game guy forever and ever, amen, then you believe that. I just don't. To the phones here real quick. We'll talk to Sipple in just a few minutes. But first, let's chat with Terry on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline.
Hey, Connor.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Connor. Great show as always, man. I love listening to you.
Appreciate
your view on Nebraska, on the Huskers. So, hey, I guess I totally agree with you. I think my feeling is I think those 2 games on the road were rather rattling for him. I don't know what happened there. I think he's more talented than what he showed. And right now we're in a position where we need a quarterback to make big plays, not just in the running game, but throwing down the field.
Yeah.
And Harburg necessarily isn't giving us that. I mean, he's throwing okay, but it's not when it really counts on a big play. So I think this would be the week to play him a lot. And next week's the bye. Then you have 2 games at home, and I think Maryland's one of them. And you've got to score points against Maryland. That can't be a 7. That's not going to be a 7 to 10 game. So I love the Jeff Sims perspective. Let's give this young man another chance. I think he's going to light it up. I really do. I think he's hungry now. I think he sat on the bench in reference to him healing, and I think he's ready. Man, I'm excited for tonight's game, but I would really love to see him play, half of this game, if not more. So I appreciate it again, Connor. Great show, bud.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. Thanks for the call. That's the other thing, and I think we sort of got into that that mode over the last couple of weeks, and I said it, like, this is kind of what Nebraska's offense is, and we know the ways in which they're limited. But Terry's totally right. I mean, Nebraska needs sort of a big play threat. We saw him have the 57-yard run, and when you have Harburg and he's running the football, it's less of him improvising and making plays, and it's more on, all right, I'm going to run the option and keep it and score for a long touchdown run. We've seen him. We know they have the ability to do that. But keep in mind, when the defense sees that and when they see Heinrich Harburg and they know that they understand what he is as a threat, when you look at Heinrich Harburg, you see a guy who's you want to dare to beat you with his arm. And it's the same thing with Sims, I just think to a lesser degree, right? When you see Harburg in there, are you kind of tipping your pitch a little bit? And you're saying, yeah, this guy, we know what he wants to do. We know he wants to run. And I think they had this whole, sort of plan of what they were going to do for an offense at the beginning of the year. And it was dependent upon Jeff Sims being there and his ability. I don't know how much different it would have been. But I'm curious to see. And so maybe tonight's the night. Conventional wisdom would say maybe not tonight. Hold him through the bye. Hopefully you can get through tonight's game. Hold him through the bye, and then he's completely healthy, and then we have the real conversation, for the Northwestern game. But who knows? Nebraska may be in a situation where they can get him in there tonight. But just wanted to bring it up because this conversation is not dead. Not dead yet. Not dead yet. Like I said, we came back after one of those middle games there and said, yeah, I just don't know that it matters all that much. Nebraska's offense is limited in so many different ways. And my current read on it is I feel like they think Jeff Sims gives them more opportunity and more abilities to open the offense up than Heinrich Harburg does. They've actually put Heinrich in really great positions considering what his strengths are. And I thought he grew. He stepped up and he made that throw to Marcus Washington. Just really ripped it. And to be fair to Harburg, we haven't seen Jeff Sims, like Jeff Sims hasn't done that this year. And to be fair to Sims hasn't had much of an opportunity to do that. All right. So we still don't know much about the quarterback position. So maybe you revert back to the starter, the guy who you sort of were going to build your offense around at the beginning of the year. Might find out a little bit more. And we might find out a little bit more from our friend Steven M. Sipple. Sipple from HuskerOnline.com. He is in Champaign. He's in Chambana already. So one thing we always try to avoid, road games. We were playing on the road the first couple of weeks of the season. We try to avoid Sipple in transit. I am led to believe that Sipple is not in transit as of this morning, which is a great thing for us. We'll also ask him about his new catchphrase, which he has been debuting on the website over the last couple days here. We'll come back with Sipple next on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Are you ready for your best year of health yet?
Join Nebraska Medicine for Break for Breakfast, a free drive-through event that could make a life-saving difference.
On Friday morning, October 13th, drive through one of 3 locations between 6:30 and 8:30 for a free breakfast and crucial cancer screening information.
Did you know that early detection is key when it comes to fighting cancer?
That's right. And at Break for Breakfast, you'll get information about different types of cancer screenings without leaving your car.
And don't forget, a free and delicious breakfast.
Mark your calendar for October 13th from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and head over to one of these locations. Omaha Home for Boys off 52nd and Ames Street, Shadow Lake Town Center off 72nd Street and Highway 370, or Village Point Health Center just south of Dodge near 175th and Burke Streets.
Visit nebraskamed.com/breakfast for all the drive-through event details. That's nebraskamed.com/breakfast.
Hey, if you're thinking about getting the latest iPhone, check this out. With Boost Infinite, you get the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Yeah, you get the new titanium iPhone 15 Pro that was just announced. Then again, next year, you get the latest iPhone. Every year. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. To learn more, pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Love dogs? Love Halloween? Then join Muddy Paws for the 3rd annual Wagoween Boo Bash, October 14th at Therapy Bar and Grill. This free event is family-friendly with food, activities for kids and adults, and a huge silent auction, plus a doggy costume contest and local band Happy Endings. There's more than $25,000 in raffle prizes. It's October 14th from 12:30 to 6 at Therapy Bar and Grill off 108th and Q. The first 400 folks get a free car wash. It'll be a howling good time.
Steve Sipple.
Hut, hut, hey! The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay? Omaha!
Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome back, and we welcome in our esteemed guest, Steven M. Sipple, HuskerOnline.com. Sipple, good morning. Or I guess afternoon now. How are you?
Connor, I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Good. How's Shambana?
What'd you just call it?
Shambana. You know, champagne Urbana, Shambana.
I'm going to say it's pretty good. I haven't even been out of the hotel. We got here yesterday at 5. And I had to do some work, and that lasted till 8. Then I just did some things, and I don't know. I haven't even walked out. I'm about to walk out now.
Oh, good. We'll get a live boots on the ground report then.
I'll walk out the door. Here, I'll do it right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Looks
like a lady just came in shirt sleeves. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of overcast and cool.
It's
overcast and cool.
It's 52 degrees here right now. What are we thinking for temperature? Is it in the 60s?
Yeah, I think kickoff will be in the upper 50s, 60s. It's comfortable right now.
Wow.
It's comfortable.
Hey, Sipple, how big of a game is this?
I don't know. I mean, it's not like Ohio State, Michigan.
No, not in that sense. Not in the sense of like, oh, we're going to have the pomp and circumstance. But how big of a game is this for this season for Nebraska?
I mean, it's everybody. It's a standard conversation. They're trying to get to Nebraska's trying to get to a bowl game, and this would really hurt if you lose it, but you still have a chance. I say the same thing every time. At Nebraska, they're all big if you lose it.
Yeah.
But this one is a case where if you win it, it is kind of gets you on track. Starts October on a good. It gets your October going. This is a pretty critical October. I think Schaefer, Mike, was calling it Opportunity October the other day. And so in that context,
Octobertunity.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to start combining words, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like to do that all the time. So yeah, it's good. I'll go ahead and give Schaefer credit for that mostly. Octobertunity. It's the month of opportunity for Nebraska.
Opportunity. How about Octunity?
Octunity. Even better. Perfect. Everybody get that out there. Start the hashtag Octunity. Make sure you credit Sipple and Schaefer and myself. We were just talking about quarterback going into this. I feel like the conversation's mostly gone away over the last couple of weeks because of the uncertain health of Jeff Sims. Where do we think we stand at from a health perspective with him right now, and what may be the likelihood that we could see him tonight?
Sims, what did Rule say earlier this week? He said he did say it was a high ankle. He hasn't always said that.
Right.
But he did say it was a high ankle sprain.
It's been 4 weeks.
So if you 4 to 6. That's a 4 to 6. Everybody that when it happened, that there were people saying this is going to be 4 to 6 week injury. What's the date today?
It is October 6th, Opportunity-tober.
Right. So or a month. He's probably not he's not 100%. The guys at Rule and Satterfield have been very consistent in recent interviews in saying Sims has practiced well, but he's not 100%.
Right.
So to answer your question, I wouldn't bank on seeing him tonight. I don't know. That's the way I'm operating. I don't have any, but there's no inside information. I don't have inside information. I wish I could tell you I did. I'm expecting to see Harburg under center once again, or as the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's my expectation too. But it feels like we're getting closer and closer. And conventional wisdom would lead you to believe like maybe if you can keep him out tonight, then you get an extra week with the bye week, and then you get to really evaluate it. Like, what will that conversation be like if he remains on track to get healthy after the bye week?
Hey, it's really. I don't know. It's a really interesting conversation, and it's dependent. There's variables in the conversation, which makes it good radio. If we can kind of stay on course with it. One thing that comes to mind when you ask that question is how does Heinrich Harburg play? How well does he play? What if he plays really well?
Sure.
Heinrich Harburg. What if they move? They should move the ball against this defense. They really should. They should move it consistently. And what if he has what you would call a very good game? Well, doesn't that affect the conversation?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now it's the same thing if he doesn't have a good game. It really affects the conversation. If he turns it over 3 times and is the reason they lose, then the conversation changes too. But all by way of saying, just the variables make the discussion and any quarterback discussion like this kind of difficult.
Hey, Sip, how much do you? Because I'm always interested in your thoughts on how you feel about. I mean, especially when people say things. I know you're more into like, all right, what's it look like, and this is the game, and this is how it goes. What did you take away sort of from the tone change this week from Matt Rule? Obviously, it started last Saturday night after the game. How he didn't like what he saw. How could you have? And then sort of doubled down on a little bit on Monday. Like, what do you take away from that sort of tone change going into this week?
No, I've been impressed with Rule really from the start, from November 29th or 27th, whenever he got introduced. Him as a leader really from the start. My takeaway, I guess I don't from a tone change, or just his tone, was he's showing leadership this week. Now, it doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, he's just the leader, but it sure helps if your leader takes the sort of posture that he's taking, which is a fighting posture, and not just trying to, act like what we saw didn't happen.
Yep.
And sugarcoat it and sort of placate everybody, which he just isn't that way. So I've appreciated it. I was more struck by Tony White's tone change. I thought his tone change was the most. I hope the wind isn't killing this interview.
I got you.
I thought Tony White's tone change was the one that I would say struck me more. And I wonder about it because I wonder about the confidence level. He seemed a little rattled, is what I'm getting at here, Happer. So I wonder about that unit. I just want to see. I'm not saying they're not confident, and I'm not saying they won't rebound well, but Tony White on Tuesday, I thought he seemed a little bit. I mean, he's definitely affected, and of course he was affected. The defense got thumped, and that's his deal.
Yeah, it was certainly a step back from how they had been. At the same time, like, I don't know that my expectation for the first 4 weeks of the season was for them to be like the best run defense in the country. So
no.
maybe you could sort of get back to something in between there in this October tunity.
Yeah, big surprise. I'm not a big stats guy, right? Big surprise.
Huge.
I wasn't looking at it like that. I was just looking at it. They were pretty good. They were good. They were good against Minnesota. They were good against the Big Ten team. Against a Big Ten team that likes to be physical. And they held in there really well. Oh, they did better than hold in there against Minnesota. They were excellent. And then they weren't against Michigan. So it's kind of, I don't know, there might be a little confusion on the part of their defensive coordinator and the leaders of that unit. Like, what happened? How'd that happen? Of course, Michigan is much better than Minnesota. I think that'll bear itself out on Saturday when those teams play. So I don't know. There's a lot. It seems like there's never we're never short on intrigue around here.
Yeah. Well, you could sort of see it, and whether you like it or not, I mean, that's a way tougher opponent, but also it just felt like the mindset, the attitude was sort of different going into that game. And not that they weren't, and I know Rule balked at this in the post-game press conference, like not that there wasn't fire or intensity and stuff like that, but they didn't come nearly as close to the way that they executed in the first couple games compared to what they did against Michigan. So we didn't get a real evaluation of what that defense was against Michigan.
Yeah, and credit Michigan, A, for its physicality, B, for its talent, especially up front, but not just up front. I mean, my God, they got an all Big Ten running back and an all Big Ten quarterback. but also their gap schemes are confusing. They can be confusing to defenders. The way they run looks like simple, I think, from a layman's point of view, but there's pullers and they're doing things that I think Rule alluded to it, that caused some confusion. And there were guys in wrong spots, guys going the wrong ways, and some of that's just because of Michigan's scheme.
Okay, Sipple, I want to flash back because something that somebody just said in the comments sort of jogged my my brain on this. So, first game of 2021, and what happened there that day in late August of 2021, Nebraska kind of, they're up 9-0 and blew it. But I remember the response after that game from people being, man, look at what Brett Bielema has figured out and who they want to be. And it's his very first game at Illinois. Compare that to tonight, where it's Matt Rule's first year. It's his sixth game, and Brett Bielema and that team is taking a little bit of a step back this year. Could this be that type of game for Nebraska? And you don't never know how people are going to react to things, but it would be. I think it would be a pretty big, like, I don't know if it's a statement. It seems like a strong word, but to say like, hey, we know who we're going to be and we know what we're going to do. And that's what you were saying about the other team 2 years ago.
I hope so. I mean, I guess I don't. It's an interesting way to size it up. I hadn't thought about that. Just look at it as
it's a
now
game.
We're going to do some. Now that we're going to struggle here because now these guys have come down and I'm walking up stairs. It's going to get really weird. Yeah, I'm on the radio still. So that I don't know if I look at it like that. I just look at it as like there's two teams that are sort of struggling. One's struggling more. Illinois is struggling more. Nebraska is a better team on paper, and I think just better. Period. So Nebraska should win the game, but I don't. Of course, there's always those variables that we talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So let's have to see.
Yep.
But I like Nebraska a lot better right now. If you look at their respective seasons, there's only one conclusion, in my opinion. That's Nebraska's the better team.
I mean, they both have the same record, and they've shown basically the same thing from a results perspective. But obviously, the numbers look worse for Illinois.
I don't think so. Illinois has never been really good at all this.
Yeah.
They barely beat Toledo. They shouldn't have beat Toledo. Florida Atlantic, they barely beat them. They're terrible against Penn State, 5 turnovers. Kansas dominated them. And Purdue, they were awful against Purdue. They had 9 penalties, allowed 5 sacks. No, I think Nebraska's been better. Same record, but Nebraska's been better.
Okay. All right, Sipple. We will let you go. Enjoy the evening tonight. Enjoy beautiful Shambana. Enjoy your beginning of October-tunity. And holla.
Octunity. We're calling it
Octunity. And also holla.
Holla, yeah. Holla back, okay?
Okay, holla back. See you later.
All right. God bless you. See you later.
Steve Sipple. The incomparable Steve Sipple of HuskerOnline.com, who has debuted a new catchphrase, and it is holla. He likes to say holla now. Holla back. Never know what that guy's thinking or what he's going to do at any moment in time. It's truly fantastic stuff. Interesting. He has strong thoughts about Nebraska going into this game, just as they compare to Illinois. I feel similarly to Sipple. I like what their response has been this week, and I just like them against that other team if that other team looks the same as they have through their first 5 games as well. All right, we will come back. We don't talk much about NFL on Fridays, even though we won't talk to you until after a lovely Sunday in the NFL has happened again. But I have a top 5 today. My top 5 is NFL storylines to watch this weekend. One of my favorite things, so we'll do this with Keys too, is to come up with like catchphrases or headlines for things that are going to happen. So I'm really in my bag today. I did it with Keys, and now I have it with my top 5 NFL storylines to watch this weekend surrounding 5 of the games when we return on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on The Crossover.
Bacon is the most flavorful food in the whole world.
Bacon to a baby, and then give the baby a piece of sausage. The look on the child's face when they eat the bacon, mind blowing.
Can you trust a child for your food takes, and that's your problem?
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes, there you go.
Hey, look at this baby. That baby knows.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny, brisk, and windy for your Friday afternoon with a high today of 56 degrees in Omaha. Expect gusts out of the northwest up to 30 to 40 miles an hour. Still staying breezy this evening for high school football, but winds calm as clear skies continue. Frost advisory in effect from midnight to 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, a low of 35. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source, by your mom's house.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. The Top Tracer building is always available for you, rain or shine, or in the case of the upcoming months, snow as well. But you are covered, you are comfortable, whether it's hot outside, you're cool inside. If it's cold outside, you are warm and comfortable inside. Not to mention a bevy of television so you can watch all the sports action, play virtual courses from around the world, dial in that distance, and a whole lot more. It's Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
You've decided to buy a house. Now what? You know, it doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned homeowner. The home buying process is not the same as ordering something from Amazon. The biggest trick is knowing how much you really can afford before the real house hunting can begin. I mean, really know. There's no time for guessing games, which is why talking with a mortgage professional like Mortgage Specialists first can make a difference. Some house hunting websites have calculators that'll give an estimate of the monthly payments, but they aren't really reliable. It's a better idea to get an accurate payment estimate using your own personal information. That's where Mortgage Specialists can help. Really help. Find out more when you subscribe to Mortgage Matters in Minutes on our YouTube channel. Just search Mortgage Specialists LLC.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Every Friday, we bring you discounts to some of your favorite businesses in the Metro. The thing is, once a week just isn't enough. Get ready for OmahaWeekendDeals.com. Every weekend, you can find big deals, 50% off or more to even more of your favorite Metro businesses. Like this weekend's deal to Madness Haunted House on Pioneer Trail in Council Bluffs. Get 2 admissions of $40 value for just $20. Head to OmahaWeekendDeals.com to get yours. That's OmahaWeekendDeals.com.
Walter's got a couple things here on the YouTube. He first says, ugh. Sip just jinxed Nebraska. And also, yeah, Hala is very cringy. I don't know. There's something about Sipple where nothing's cringy. He just owns it. You know? He's got that type of confidence.
He has his own personality.
He really does. He could say whatever he wanted to. Yeah, he could be the rare person who actually in 2023 says Hala. And it's not cringy or weird. It's just funny because he's Steve Sipple. Also, Cameron says Steve Sipple guarantees a win today. I don't think he outright guaranteed it, but I think he liked Nebraska's chances. That's all. Okay, let's dive into the NFL for this weekend. I have some storylines. I got to do my thing. I think I live in an alternate universe. I'm like a headline writer if that was ever a job. And so we're going to go through a few things that are going to happen in the NFL this weekend, and I have headlines attached to them. Top 5 storylines to watch this weekend. Number 5.
Gosh, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Storyline number 5 in the NFL this weekend is called Weirdos of London. You like that? Joey,
Weirdos from London.
Joey, I need you to grade my headlines on a scale of 1 to 5. All right.
Okay.
Let me explain them first, and then you can go back and grade the headline. Weirdos of London. It's a playoff of Werewolves of London, of course. It's the rematch of that one random game from 2021 that the Bills lost to the Jaguars, the 9-6 game. It's Bills and Jags on early Sunday morning. If you want to watch the London game this week, Doug Peterson. Here's a stat for you. Doug Peterson, 32-23 against the spread in his career as an underdog. He will be an underdog for this one. He is 9-6 against the spread as an underdog against the Bills. Might the Jacksonville Jaguars be in a spot where they can pull off the unthinkable in London on Sunday morning against a team in the Bills who is just coming off of their shellacking of the Miami Dolphins? Weirdos of London. Joey, what do you think? 1 to 5. Be real. Be real though. You don't have to be nice to me. Just tell me how it is.
I'll put it in the middle.
3, 2.
Yeah. I'll put it at a 3.
You could say 2.5 if you want to.
No.
Okay.
I got to be exact. 3. 3's. I think it's a decent one, just average.
He likes integers. All right, 3 is the grade from Joey. Number 4, headline number 4.
Number 4.
Nebraska versus Illinois tonight. I dubbed as stoppable force versus movable object. We have stoppable force versus movable object in the NFL as well this weekend, and it comes to us from Denver, Colorado. The Jets and the Broncos will play each other this weekend. And that is the NFL version of stoppable force versus movable object. Let me make sure it's in Denver. Here's why this is interesting. First of all, 2 horrible teams. The Broncos ranked near the bottom in just about every statistical category on the defensive side in the NFL. The Jets showed some signs of life last week, as we know, with Zach Wilson, who was getting some praise. But they still average the fewest plays per drive in the NFL this season. They average, this almost seems like an impossible number considering the least amount of plays that you can run on a drive is 3, basically. That's not the least, but average plays per drive for the New York Jets offense, 4.7. Not very many, Joey. Not very many. Stoppable force versus movable object. the Jets offense versus the Broncos defense. Something's got to give.
That's a pretty good headline, I would say.
Thank you, Joey.
And Zach Wilson's improving.
Wilson's improving.
Yeah, he had a better game last game, and I have to give credit to Aaron Rodgers being there in person.
Packers guy.
Hey, settling down the negativity in that locker room. There was a lot of finger pointing. But yeah, at least they're not scoring less than what the Bengals are getting this season or the Giants.
That is true. It's funny that you mentioned that, Joey, because we moved to number 3.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
Headline number 3 of the weekend in the NFL, Bengals on the brink. Maybe I could do like Bengals brink or brink of Bengals or something like that. I'm still sussing that one out. Bengals on the brink. If Cincinnati loses this weekend, they fall to 1-4 on the year. And maybe even worse, the loss will be to the Arizona Cardinals. If the Bengals lose this week, and I know Burrow's still hurt, but at a certain point, you're too deep into the season to climb out of that hole. If the Bengals lose this weekend and fall to 1-4, and they'll have a loss to the Cardinals now on their resume, not that the resume counts for much, we may have no choice but to bury them. I believe they play the Bears next week, and then they go into their bye.
I got their schedule, Connor. They got Seattle at home, then they get a bye, then at San Francisco, then Buffalo at home.
Yeah.
They still have to play at the Ravens, Steelers twice, and at the Chiefs.
It gets really hard after the bye week. So my personal vote for them would be, if I had a vote, if I was on the Zach Taylor committee, I would just sit Joe Burrow the next 2 weeks and then sit him for the bye and then have him back for the back stretch, and hopefully you can win one out of these next 2, because what they're doing right now with him hurt is completely limiting what they're doing on the offense. They might lose him anyway, and he might not be healthy for the rest of the season. I think you got to give yourself a chance. They may lose. They may lose to the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. And if that's the case, then we would have to bury them. The Cincinnati Bengals are just 3-point favorites on the road in Arizona. Headline number 2. Here comes 2.
Number 2.
This one is more just what's happening. Less of like a play on anything. Real Rams and return of the cup. I should have said 2-1 cup, but that would be inappropriate.
Oh, yeah.
So this could be a statement win for the Los Angeles Rams this weekend, who are taking on the
They're playing the Eagles.
Taking on the Eagles, yeah. So it could be a statement win for the Rams. And we may see Cooper Kupp for the first time this year. What does Cooper Kupp being potentially present mean for Puka Nacua? Do they just have a dynamic duo of wide receiver now, and they're both like the same guy with all their, with their huge points in fantasy PPR leagues? This is, on the Eagles side, this is the 25th consecutive regular season start that Jalen Hurts has been favored in. I saw that stat and I was like, what? I have to say that over the air because I couldn't believe it. The 25th consecutive regular season start that Jalen Hurts has been favored in. And in those games, the Eagles have won 23 out of the 25 times outright. Not against the spread, just outright. But it's a statement day for the Rams, potentially. They may get Cooper Kupp back. And obviously the Eagles want to fend any of that off as well. So real Rams and the return of the Cup. Number 1.
Make it so, number 1.
Number 1.
Okay. I'm just going to steal a line. I'm going to steal a line from the great Carrie Underwood. It's not from one of her songs, Joey. Well, I guess it is, but not in the way we think about a Carrie Underwood song. It's very easy.
Yeah, easy.
Waiting all day for a Sunday night. That's what this is about this weekend. I want to watch Cowboys and 49ers. That's the game I want to watch this weekend. It's 2 of the 3 best teams in the NFC, and the 49ers have had the Cowboys number. Did you know Brock Purdy has not thrown an interception since January 1st?
Seriously?
Not one.
Wow.
Interception since January 1st. Oh, he's only played in 6 or 7 games during that period of time. But it's still relatively impressive. Did you know that Brock Purdy has only thrown 4 interceptions in his whole career?
That's crazy to know.
So,
wow.
Can the Cowboys get the 49ers off schedule? Or will it be another 49ers statement? The Cowboys haven't won this game since 2020. And it's a big opportunity for the Cowboys because until you beat the 49ers or the Eagles, then you're not real, right? Because those are the 2 teams that are at the top of that NFC. So, number 1, waiting all day for a Sunday night.
That's going to be a fun game to watch Sunday night.
I hope so, but the way that game's been lately, the 49ers just wrecked the Cowboys. So,
yeah, if they could contain Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, that's really going to be the key for the Cowboys. If they could stop them, then they should perform better. But Dak can't turn over the football. He cannot throw any interceptions. That's going to be on him if anything goes wrong for them.
Nobody has stopped Christian McCaffrey this year.
No.
So, good luck.
He had a hat trick in the first half in the last game.
Yeah. And they're loading him up too. He's getting 20 plus carries a game, 25 touches, stuff like that. So I'll be excited for Sunday night, but I'm fully, I understand that it's fully possible that it could be over by halftime or something like that. In that game, I was looking at the line before the Niners are 4-point favorites. It is in Santa Clara on Sunday evening, right after Kerry Underwood, Kerry Wood going to strike out 20 people and then we're going to play football. No, Kerry Underwood is going to sing you a lovely song. All right, that's our top 5 this weekend. NFL headlines as we head into it. 1 o'clock hour, we have our keys to victory for Nebraska, which is coming up. Our predictions. Josh has already sent me his. He is extending his picks lead over myself for the first 5 weeks of the season. I need him out to come back somehow, and we'll get you our final picks for Nebraska's game tonight against Illinois, which starts in 6 hours. We'll come back with more next on 1620 The Zone.
Brian Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. It's a marquee matchup as the undefeated 49ers host the 3-1 Cowboys. Brock Purdy and San Francisco's offense posted big numbers last week, while the Dallas defense dominated in their win against the Patriots. Should make for a great matchup. Ryan Harris and I have the call of the Cowboys at the 49ers on Sunday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, where new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. John, that means $200 in bonus bets. Win or lose, it will be week 5 this upcoming weekend. Look, I'm looking at both of our teams' games. Obviously, my Cowboys going to Frisco to take on the 49ers. John will be rooting for your Rams on the money line versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Help out my Cowboys in the NFC East.
I'm not here to help your Cowboys, but I am here to help all of you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place that first $5 bet. That's new customers to FanDuel. And don't forget, with those player props, over-unders, and so many prop bets, there's many more ways than just betting the game. That's with FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus in President Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Welcome to the After Hours Lounge on 1620 The Zone.
It is the hippest and the hoppest show on 1620 The Zone.
Who is it? Rap snitches, telling all their business. Sit in the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Brown, get the whole label sent to for years.
Catch After Hours 6 to 8, Monday through Friday, or as the sports schedule allows, on 1620 The Zone.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
All right, one more quick thing before we get to our keys to the game. Here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Now, I don't know. It's unclear to me when this interview actually happened. I assume it was within the last week or so. It is a Chris Wallace sit down. We're not talking politics, not talking CNN or Fox, but it was on CNN. And he sat down with the great Al Michaels. And I saw this as the game was winding down last night, and the Washington Football Commanders were desperately attempting to score a touchdown and failing, and just letting Sam Howell get sacked a lot. It crossed over my timeline, and Al Michaels revealed something about himself that I don't think is possible / we've never heard before. Here is the interview.
Is it true?
Shut it off. Yeah, shut it off. It's okay. We'll figure it out. But here's what Al Michaels said. I've never eaten a vegetable in my life. And I have no interest in eating a vegetable. It's just amazing. He said, I've never eaten a vegetable. I have no interest. And Chris Wallace said, well, what about a carrot? And he said, no, a carrot is not a reasonable vegetable. There's no way. It doesn't look like it would be delicious at all. It doesn't look like it would be good at all. We're going to try it now again? All right, Joey, let's do it. Here we go.
Is it true that you have never knowingly eaten a vegetable in your life?
That is true.
That is true.
I was born when my parents were 18. My mother hadn't even read Dr. Spock at that point. So she just let me have the run of the course. And I always pushed the vegetables away. To this day, no. And I guess what I've proven, Chris, is that man does not need vegetables to survive.
But is it just possible that you would like, I'm thinking of one of the more non-objectionable vegetables, a carrot?
Oh, please. Please.
A carrot?
No, a carrot. No, that's an objectionable vegetable.
I mean, really? What? I mean, how would you know? You've never tasted it.
I look at it. I just don't even like the look of it. And I surmise what it might taste like in terms of the texture of it. I think a lot of it probably has to do with it. Just doesn't look like something that would go down well.
Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff from Al Michaels. And he says it in that voice. So how could you really, how could you really fault him? So let's have the discussion just real quick. Is the carrot one of the least objectionable vegetables? Joey, what are your thoughts on carrot?
I'm not a huge fan eating them as a whole. If they're like cut up in bits and pieces, I'm fine with it. I'm just not a fan of the taste, texture.
But would you agree that it is one of the least objectionable vegetables?
You could say that.
I'm trying to think of a list of vegetables that everybody, seems to universally not have a problem with. And I do think carrot would actually be pretty high up on that list. So I thought Chris made a really great point, and Al was just like, absolutely not. How do you know that? You've never had one. Well, I just look at it and I can tell. I am the all-knowing. I am Al Michaels. And he claims he's never in his life has had a vegetable. What an unbelievable claim. But for some reason, maybe it's because of that voice. Remember the Miracle on Ice? We're just forced to believe him. So, Joey, do you believe him?
I believe him.
I kind of do too.
How can you not?
I kind of do too. But now there's a challenge out there for everybody. Like I said earlier during the crossover, if you're one of the chefs that is getting Al Michaels' food prior to the game, I think you're going to probably create some sort of concoction or a dish that would lead Al Michaels to not only, one, eat a vegetable for the first time in his life, but two, enjoy a vegetable. Who knows? Maybe you could change your whole outlook on life at age 78. It could happen. I mean, I feel like, I'm running out of moments where I have, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I'm running out of moments. But I feel like I've had a lot of moments in my life where my perspective has changed, and there's still more to come. But at age 78, your perspective probably is the way it's going to be. So if we could get one more thing for Al, and all of a sudden, in the last 10, 15, 20 years of his life, he can be a vegetable guy, that'd be an amazing heel turn. Or he becomes nice to Kirk Herbstreit, maybe. That could work as well. Mike on the YouTube says, I feel like lettuce is least objectionable. Just lettuce. But lettuce is like the definition of a vegetable, right? You think vegetable and you think green leaf. You think lettuce. Mike also says celery or potato. Now, we had the potato discussion earlier this morning. I'm not counting potato. There's no way that Al Michaels has never had a potato. No chance. No chance in hell. He's had a potato before.
How could you not have fries?
Yeah, right. So he's not counting potatoes as a vegetable. Zach emails in, has he ever eaten a taco? I know people, I knew people who just decided that they were going to, when they order their tacos or when they order their chicken sandwiches, they say no lettuce and they say no tomatoes and the whole thing. I don't get it because I'm a food purist, because I like the food the way it's fed to me. That's a whole other thing. Eric says green beans maybe is the least objectionable vegetable. Yeah, people have problems with green beans too. Once again, it's green. People are like, it's green. Don't like it. So I think Chris is onto something with the whole carrot deal. But once again, unbelievable claim from Al Michaels, the GOAT. Great job by him. And he got to do a great football game last night between the Bears and the football Commanders. All right, now it's time for our keys to Nebraska and Illinois, which is set to kick off in just a few short hours. We'll come back with that next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call. John Higgins, let it go. The home of the Rooferys.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more DaVinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys. Make the right call.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season is here. You'll be going to games and you want to see all of the action on the football field. Kugler Vision can help you ditch the glasses or ditch the contacts for good. Visit them online at KuglerVision.com.
Creighton Sports Update.
The 2023-2024 Creighton men's and women's basketball schedules have been fully announced. Fans will have 17 opportunities to catch the men's team in action at CHI Health Center Omaha this season and 14 chances to catch the women's team at DJ Sokol Arena. Single game tickets for the men's team and season tickets for the women's team are going quick, so lock in your seats today. Visit gocreighton.com/buy to purchase.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
Vallis Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vallis has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vallis, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Alice Pumpkin Patch best of all.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duck Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
All right, here we go. Welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Nebraska football will kick off in just a few short hours against the Illinois Fighting Illini. Nebraska has not won this game since September 21st of 2019 when Wandale Robinson and sophomore Adrian Martinez took on the Fighting Illini and came out with a comeback victory, 42-38. And then College Game Day rolled into town the next weekend against Ohio State. Nebraska got destroyed. And then 2019 was off and running the way that 2019 was. Nebraska had an embarrassment in 2020 against this team, lost by 18 points at home in the COVID year. 2021 started off the season against Illinois, was up 9-0, and then completely crapped their pants and lost 30-22. And last year, Casey Thompson got hurt and Chubba Purdy had to come in. Nebraska's defense was actually pretty good. They couldn't get anything going against a defense that had a few NFL players on it, including Devon Witherspoon, who shut down Trey Palmer the entire day. But this is a different team. This is indeed a different team. It's Illinois and Nebraska tonight on FS1. Don't forget Big Red Overreaction coming up afterwards with John and Nick. They'll take you deep into the night. Key number one for me, first drive. I think it's big to set the tone in this game. I think these are two teams that are down. I think these are two teams that are scuffling, and they're looking to find confidence somewhere. And so if Nebraska's on defense, a 3-and-out, or a drive ending in a punt, I think would be significant for the psyche. If Nebraska's on the offensive side of the ball, a score, a touchdown. Frankly, a made field goal, honestly, I think you'd take it because it would mean a lot of good things for your field goal kicker as well. I think these two teams are comparable. Nebraska's obviously been stronger on defense so far this year, but I just don't think you want to be the team that's playing from behind in this game. I don't think you want to be the team that's playing on the other team's terms. If you get Illinois playing from behind, that's when the mistakes can really show up. We'll get to that in another key in a second. I know Matt Rule's offense and what he wants to do, and he talks about it all the time. It's a mantra within their program. Body blows, right? Body blows on offense. I know they want to do that and get to the second half, but I just think setting the tone is a really big deal tonight. And it's more about the mental side. Not that Nebraska can't win it if they're down, not that Nebraska can't win it if they're tied or it's a stalemate through the first half. But I think playing the game on their terms is a pretty important thing in this game, just from a mental standpoint. You just don't want to feel like you're trying to catch somebody again. That is key number one. First drive success for Nebraska. If you'll notice, there's a theme here. First drive. How about early down success rate? Early down success rate. Luke Altmaier has 7 turnovers or 7 interceptions this year. He was what you call a turnover machine. You need turnover machine Luke Altmaier to into 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 7 plus, 3rd and 8 plus, and then pin the ears back and go. They'll make mistakes when they get there, but you have to win on 1st and 2nd down. It's the same thing on offense in the inverse. Illinois is top 40 in early down success rate on offense. Nebraska is number 1 in the country on defense and early down success rate. So we talk about stoppable force versus movable object. Those are two areas where these teams are really good. We know what they want to do. They want to run the ball, and they want to get to 3rd and 3. They want to get to 3rd and 2. They want to get to 3rd and 1. They want to get the first down on 2nd down, But Nebraska has been really good at understanding one-dimensional teams this year, and they've been really good at stopping on early down success. So that is a key area. 1st and 2nd down, and you get them in 3rd and 8, you get them in 3rd and 7, you get them in 3rd and longer than that. And that should be a recipe for success. That's key number 2 for me. So first drive, early down success rate. Early, right? Setting tones. And the 3rd and final key is more about the finish. 3rd and final key is a gun reference, so I apologize. Safety on. Keep the safety on tonight. Don't get any, safeties that happen against you, but keep the safety on. Keep that gun that you use to shoot your own foot off in your back pocket. Because why? More so than other games for Nebraska. Nebraska has been that team before. They're sick and tired of being that team. But you look across the field from you, and you see the other team, and they've been that team this year. They've been that team more recently. They're a bit of a mess on the offensive side of the ball. It's turnovers, it's penalties, it's all of the bad things for Illinois on offense right now. If you win penalties, if you win turnovers, you're probably a winner, straight up, in this game. If you win penalties and you win turnovers, you probably win the football game. Kind of as simple as that. So once again, 3 keys. First drive, early down success rate, and safety on. When Nebraska's up and they're hanging on, finish it. And I think they'll be in that position tonight. Those are my 3 keys to Nebraska against Illinois tonight at 7 o'clock. Sure, we do have time for a quick call here. Let's go to Random Mike on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Hi, Mike.
Hey, you heard Sipple say, I heard him say that Tony Wright appeared rattled. Did you get that impression?
This week when he was talking,
yeah, I thought he was more pissed off.
Yeah, I wouldn't have called it rattled. I thought that was an interesting sort of thought there from Sipple.
Sip's losing it, bro. What's going on here?
Well, he's saying holla to everybody, so yeah, I think he is.
I was a small kid in Chicago. I've told you this. They had Dick Butkus, Gale Sayers, and Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
And would you agree? Those are 3 of the greatest players ever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. Yes, I do agree.
Butkus, for the first 5 or so years when he was relatively healthy, his knees were relatively okay. He could move. He was sideline to sideline, and he was a holy terror. And, obviously, the greatest middle lineman. He was a huge dude, and we used to call him Butkus hits. And you saw him when he hits you, you went the other way, and that's very uncommon. Am I right in the NFL?
Guys were going flying. Yeah, I was watching a good few clips this morning, and he just looked like a giant compared to everybody else, even though he was only, 6'3". He just looked like a complete giant freak of nature.
Yeah, 6'3", 250. Back then, that was a huge linebacker.
Right.
And he had a way of tackling where he spread out his arms like the wingspan. It was covering the large territory. You were in trouble. And you were going to go the opposite way. And these are tremendous running backs with some speed and momentum. But when they had those 3 players, and Ditka was as fan-friendly a tight end as you can imagine. The first tight end in the Hall of Fame, Gale Sayers, was unbelievable. They never made the playoffs with those 3 guys. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. And then they made it right after Butkus, or when Butkus joined the staff, right?
Was he on the staff?
I want to say that was the case, but I saw that.
I know he sued the Bears because of his injuries, and they made a big settlement. But when him and House didn't speak for years, finally Butkus wrote his autobiography and sort of broke the ice by going to House, asking him to sign it. House wrote the greatest player the Bears ever had, and they had some great players. But here's the thing: Butkus died yesterday.
Yeah,
and we're playing Illinois, and he's an all-time hero there. And I'm thinking this is bad news for the Huskers.
Oh, you're worried about the ghost of Dick Butkus?
Well, just the inspiration kind of thing. That this is not good. But then I thought of over the last 10 years as Husker fans, how many times did they bring back great players, great teams, some of the greatest ever, to honor them? And you would think that would really inspire them. And they lost almost every one of those games because they weren't that good. And Illinois is not that good, but I think their coach, who would you take their coach in a fight? Their coach or our coach? Bielema's a hell of a coach.
Yeah, I think I would take Brett Bielema in an actual physical altercation. He's large,
but we've never beaten Bielema. But here's the good news, I think, for Husker fans. Do you ever remember a week of practice or where the coach makes them get physical in practice on Sunday?
No.
And then the coach says, this next team will determine what kind of team we are and what kind of coach I am. Didn't he say that?
Totally. Yes, I know. I've been trying to drive that home all week, and people are just like, this isn't that big of a game. Are you kidding me? Your coach laid it all on the line.
Have you ever heard a coach? This was the opposite of what Scott Frost would say.
I've never heard of any, maybe as an old wives' tale or whatever, we're going to practice on Sunday and we're going to hit each other because we didn't play on Saturday. I've never seen that in major college football.
Right. Or the Sunday physical practice. Do you think Sims, Connor, you think he's going to play?
I think it's, he's at least getting close. I would still say it's Harburg tonight, but I don't know. We're getting close to having that conversation.
And maybe the speedy freshmen get in there and we stretch the field a little bit, which would really help. What about Liebentritt? I love that guy. Is he going to play?
I don't know. I don't know. We didn't hear, last week it was sort of a bit of a surprise. And Matt Rule wasn't sure the last time we talked to him. So,
and don't you think he makes a difference?
Yeah. He's not in that much, but he makes a difference, I guess. Yeah.
I thought he played the most in the last game when he got hurt. and he was making great blocks. It was the old Nebraska, and I know Damon really liked that. Getting two running backs there. If one of them's a really good blocker. But so I mean, anything could happen. But I love the fact the rule took the tack he did. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it was a good wake up call for everybody. And
I kept thinking, where was that during the game?
I'm with you. Hey, Mike, we got to go. Have a good weekend.
You got it, buddy.
All right, that's Random Mike. So yeah, I do like the tack that he took, and I like the energy and the urgency for this game. But you did lay it all out there tonight, so now it's a big one. We'll come back. Picks for the weekend coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
Kudos to him. He has brought people into, whether they know what the hell they're watching or not, he has brought more people into the college football game this year than I can ever recall. Yeah. And he's probably gotten people that are diehard NFL fans that don't live in an area where college football is big. They're paying attention to one team in college football, or actually one individual in college football. Yeah. We've never seen it before. The impact of a team that is not that good doing ratings like they are. It fits for one guy.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny, brisk, and windy for your Friday afternoon with a high today of 56 degrees in Omaha. Expect gusts out of the northwest up to 30 to 40 miles an hour. Still staying breezy this evening for high school football, but winds calm as clear skies continue. Frost advisory in effect from midnight to 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, a low of 35. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. In the distance, fear awaits. A shriek, laughter, then silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screams. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and House combo $30 or $19 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Final weekend. The fall glass sale is here at 42 Degrees, and we're up to our glass in inventory. Yep, our glass products are priced up to 90% off, like straws for only $2.99. How about hand pipes starting at $7.99? Water pipes as low as $19.99. Check out all our glass products at 42degrees.com. Then stop by any store in Omaha and now in Lincoln and get up to 90% off all glass and meet our friendly, knowledgeable, and professional staff. By your mom's house. Restrictions apply. Products may contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
We created a simple PDF that gives you everything you need to know about branding, designing, and building a website that increases revenue. Download the website playbook for free at jmonline.com. If you're considering a website project but not sure who to hire, go to jmonline.com and download the free website playbook. It's a guide to a high-performing website. That's jmonline.com.
Say goodbye to summer and hello to cash loans. Let's face it, your personal banker probably won't loan you thousands of dollars today, but Saul's Jewelry and Loan will. Simply bring in your boat, camper, RV, jet ski, ATV, motorcycle, even your beautiful convertible, along with a clear title, and Saul's will loan you up to $50,000. No credit check, no hassle, and more importantly, no worries. Saul's indoor storage facility is so clean and secure, you can store your precious Harley-Davidson for the winter and pick it up next spring. So if you need a quick cash loan, Saul's is here to help.
Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you can sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Fear has a name. This ain't no pumpkin patch.
Ice cream, you scream, baby.
For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 172nd and Giles. Sponsored in part by Raising Cane, Stereo West, and Ivy.
Families who travel to Ronald McDonald House Charities in Omaha are facing extremely uncomfortable situations. Their child is sick in an unfamiliar city, unsure of how to handle it all. But when they walk in our doors, they can find comfort in the little things. A quiet moment away from the beeps and buzzes in a hospital room. A calming voice saying, "It'll be okay." Help us provide the little things that make a big difference. Support a one-night stay for a family in need by visiting rmhcomaha.org/radio.
All right, picks for the weekend. We'll kind of run through these relatively quickly here. First of all, I do owe it to you to give you a standings update. I'm currently getting my butt handed to me by Josh in the season standings. We pick 5 big games every week, 5 of the biggest games every week, then a Sickos game, then the Nebraska game. Last week, our Sickos game was the Broncos and the Bears, and we both missed it by the hook, for the record. My record, 14-20 against the spread so far this year. Josh's record, a whopping 23-11. He's absolutely on fire in picks. He's already made his for this weekend. And here are our 5 games. We will begin in the Cotton Bowl tomorrow at 11 a.m. Number 12, Oklahoma is against number 3, Texas, who is a 5.5-point favorite on ABC. Josh has chosen Texas, and I have chosen to agree with him. Texas is the pick. I just don't think Oklahoma is quite there yet. There's a reason why there's a little bit of a doubt about them at this point. They haven't really played anybody. Texas has a legit defense. They have awesome playmakers on offense as well. But it could be a big statement game for Oklahoma. I just don't like them to, get in the range of that touchdown. I do like Texas by greater than 5.5 tomorrow. Big Noon Fox tomorrow. Number 4, Ohio State is at home against the Maryland Terrapins, who are 19.5-point favorites. 11 a.m. on Fox. Josh has chosen Maryland for this game. He says that the disrespect for the Terps has run rampant. I will flip it to you this way. I'm going to pick Ohio State in this. And I'm going to do it respectfully. Just because you say it's respectfully, that means that I do it with respect. Once again, I do believe in Maryland. I do like Maryland. But I think this is a spot sort of where Ohio State wants to make a statement. I think Maryland is a strong team, but they're a strong team in the context of the tier below the 3 teams at the top. Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. They're just above everybody. And that's okay. Maryland can win 8 and 9 games by doing exactly what it's doing right now. That's a great season for Maryland. So that's a good football team. But I just think they'll lose by about 3 touchdowns tomorrow to Ohio State. I'm going with the Buckeyes. And yes, I've turned into a bit of an Ohio State homer this year. I completely understand that.
Good for you, Connor. Good for you.
You got to root for the little guys, right?
You don't want Ryan Day to come attacking you.
Exactly. I respect Ryan Day. Number 23, LSU is a 4.5-point favorite on the road at number 21, Missouri. This is an 11 a.m. game on ESPN tomorrow morning. Josh has decided to choose LSU in this one, and I agree with him. It's more about my lack of belief in Missouri. They do this. They pull off a win from time to time, and I just don't see it. At the same time, LSU, I'm not sure that they're very good. I just think LSU is the better team here. Missouri will have all the stops out tomorrow. At home to try and beat LSU. I just don't see it in the immediate. Number 11, Alabama. Number 11, Alabama. I saw one by Alabama. I thought, well, this is number 1, Alabama. Number 11, Alabama is a 1.5 favorite at Texas A&M in front of the 12th man tomorrow. 2:30 on CBS. Josh is going chalk and he's going with the Tide. And guess what? I think their reign is over. I'm going with Texas A&M with their backup quarterback, Max Johnson, the lefty slinging it. I like the environment that Texas A&M is going to bring tomorrow. And they always, they usually seem to get up for these big games. Obviously, they had a tough one in Miami earlier in the season. But Alabama gets the 1.5 favorite here because they're Alabama. And so I'm gonna ride with the Aggies. And I think they're going to win the football game. The Aggies are going to win the football game tomorrow. Josh has Alabama in that one. Number 20, Kentucky is at number 1, Georgia, who's a 14.5-point favorite, 6 o'clock on ESPN. The Josh Odson is going to take Kentucky because they're feeling good about themselves coming off their win against Florida. Georgia has done nothing to impress many this year, but this is the game. Georgia by more than 2 touchdowns. I'm going to lay the points with them. I'm going to take Georgia to finally get back on the right track here. They win by more than 2 touchdowns tomorrow. So Josh and I are on the opposite side of that one as well. Our sickos game of the week is Purdue and Iowa. That's what I have chosen. Purdue and Iowa this week. A real sickos game. Purdue coming off of their shellacking of Illinois. Iowa got wrecked by Penn State. And they beat Michigan State last week via the punt return. They did their Iowa thing. Josh is picking them to do their Iowa thing, and I am not. I think Purdue gets another nice win, and they do it on the road against a divisional team that most people like to win the division this year. And Ryan Walters is, I don't know if he has it rolling, but he's taking advantage of where some teams are at in the lower realm. And finally, Nebraska is at Illinois. I was going to say number something, not number something. 3.5-point favorite. Illinois is tonight, 7 o'clock on FS1. Josh has picked the final score of 19-16 Nebraska, so he does not have Nebraska covering. My final score tonight, Nebraska 26, Illinois 17. Picking Nebraska to win, picking to win by 9, picking them to cover. I think they TCB tonight. I think they take care of business. I like the attitude this week, and I like the sort of feel going into this. Doesn't mean it can't get stressful at some point. It probably will. But I like them to take care of business tonight.
I feel like a one-possession game, 23-16 Nebraska.
23-16.
Yep, 7-point game.
Okay, so you like them to cover as well.
Yes, sir. Missed extra point and a field goal.
Nice. All right, those are our picks for the weekend. We'll come back, round things out on 1620 The Zone.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. From Las Vegas, it's week 5 of the NFL season, ending with the matchup of 2 proud franchises looking for a spark. It's the 1-3 Raiders hosting Jordan Love and the 2-2 Green Bay Packers. Join me and Mike Golick from Las Vegas for all the action of the Packers and the Raiders on Monday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone. Here's today's Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Husker football will be in Champaign Friday to take on Illinois. Head coach Matt Rule said it will be important for the team to find their own ways to stay amped up in the away environment.
Andy Reid, when I was at Temple, he was in Philadelphia. And Coach Reid would always say to his team, which would then matriculate to me, all great teams do 3 things. They eliminate distractions, they create their own energy, they fear nothing, attack everything. Creating our own energy, that's what we try to do at practice, and we simulate that.
Rule thinks the future is bright for his wide receiving core.
Our young receivers are going to be good. I know everyone's kind of like, well, how come you can't get them to play right now? It's tough, but they're going to be really talented. They're really talented. They're really good, and I think they're going to start to help like that. I expect Jaden to play this week. Finally now.
Kickoff against the Illini will be at 7 p.m. For The Zone, I'm Matt McMaster.
The Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Every Friday, we bring you discounts to some of your favorite businesses in the Metro. The thing is, once a week just isn't enough. Get ready for OmahaWeekendDeals.com. Every weekend, you can find big deals, 50% off or more to even more of your favorite Metro businesses. Like this weekend's deal to Madness Haunted House on Pioneer Trail in Council Bluffs. Get 2 admissions of $40 value for just $20. Head to OmahaWeekendDeals.com to get yours. That's OmahaWeekendDeals.com.
Join the movement to end breast cancer. When supporting Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, you're helping save lives through groundbreaking research and patient support. Join the movement or donate today at makingstrideswalk.org/LincolnNE.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10, and he doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take a call from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction, Sunday mornings 8 to 10, powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Nebraska Medicine. Home is where the health is on 1620 The Zone.
In a house in Omaha, people gather in the kitchen. They don't talk about school and work. They talk about doctors and surgeries. They're the families of Ronald McDonald House Charities in Omaha, and the kitchen is where they come together to share the struggles their children are facing. For these families, it's the little things like a home-cooked meal even while far from home that make the biggest difference. Volunteer to prepare a meal by visiting rmhcomaha.org.
Sorry, we're a little bit behind here. Thank you, Brian, for emailing in. Yes, I'm an idiot. Josh took Nebraska to cover because he picked them to win. I just forgot that Nebraska was 3.5-point dogs. So yes, he took Nebraska. He took Nebraska to win. All right, what's a watch? I don't have this fully set up like Josh usually does, but you just heard the slate from college football. I'll give you the slate for baseball this weekend because it's October, and that means it's time to watch baseball. Everybody agrees on this. The Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles will begin their best-of-5 series at 12:03 tomorrow on FS1. So FS1 will have to take away some college football and have to go to baseball tomorrow for the American League playoffs. Minnesota and Houston starts at 3:45 on FS1. Philly and Atlanta at 5:07, and the NL side is on TBS, and then the night game is on the West Coast. The Diamondbacks and the Dodgers at 8:20. Also on TBS. Full NFL slate for over the weekend. Full college slate for over the weekend. It'll be a great time to just enjoy it. Also, what's to watch tonight? What's to watch this weekend? Well, Nebraska's on TV tonight. So, are you going to get dragged into some apple picking and some pumpkin picking and some picking of other things? It just may be time. Might have to bite the bullet this weekend, boys.
And don't forget, Kansas State, Oklahoma State are playing each other tonight at 6:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, another Power 5 game.
Guess what, Joey? I'll watch 0 seconds of that game.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Good old-fashioned Big 12 matchup.
Kansas State is a 11.5-point favorite there on the road. So, yes, that is the other game on the Friday night. But Red River tomorrow should be fun. Ohio State, Maryland should be interesting, obviously, as well. And then there's some good games throughout the day leading into the night slate, which is actually not very strong tomorrow. Louisville and Notre Dame is pretty solid. And if you're interested in watching Arizona and USC, you can watch the nightcap there. But it's a relatively meh slate in college football this week. But those tend to be the weeks where something ridiculous happens. All right. That we didn't have any poll questions. That's what we're watching this weekend. Enjoy your full weekend of college and NFL football. Can't wait to talk to you on Monday. The crossover is next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The